you covered, you know what time it is. Get to the mall, the home of high-pressure stations. The long ball, everybody's day with their screenshot. It's the long ball, it's the long ball.
Command, location, selection, anything specific?
No, I thought it generally sucked. I didn't think it was a specific suck. I thought it was like an all-encompassing type of suck. So, we're going to try and rectify that. But for right now, I'm going to be pretty pissed about it.
Where do you kind of go from here? Is it looking at tape? Is it going through mechanics? Where do you kind of go from here?
You tell me. I've tried that. If you got an answer, I'd love to hear. Just, not going to let it beat me up for, I'll maybe give it till 10. It's 9:44 right now. I'll give it 16 minutes of salt and then get back on the bump and figure it out.
Does it matter of command, location, selection, anything specific?
It's the long ball. Did you just hit a home run?
No,
I
you
thought it was
were
when I
killing
just
it, but
I get a notification. I was like, oh, I guess I just did it. Okay. Now this is being recorded. All right.
yeah, now we on.
All right, false start.
That was just a little warm up.
Well, now that we're loose, welcome back to the podcast, everybody. It's been a couple weeks. I am joined, as always, by my lovely co-host, Kyle. Kyle, welcome back from Europe.
Thank you. Good to be back. Good to be home.
We're happy to have you. And Zach, welcome to the pod, making your first appearance of the year.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Happy to be back from Kyle's Euro trip. But,
Yeah, you and Kyle had an amazing trip.
yeah, we had a really good time.
We got really close.
Yeah, there was a lot of like tight train cars overnight, the European way.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about. So I feel like we have a Zach activity, but let's just first dive into all these trades because there's been a lot of moves. Last time I was on here and Brendan dropped his amazing model and all that good stuff with me and Griff. We had covered up until Juan Soto and Judge for Corbin Carroll. Since then, we've got 7 big ones here. Let's start with, in descending order, Luis Castillo, Mike Trout, Dylan Cease, leave Raymond, come to me. I gave him Junior Caminero and Justin Steele. Zach, as our guest and Raymond expert, what do you think?
I saw it, and I don't think I think Raymond got, you get Junior Caminero. It's probably the number one piece on his team maybe now. But I feel like he used all his ammo in one trade. I feel like you would have done that trade for not all 3 of them, to be honest. I don't know. That's my thought. Like you would have done that trade for Trout in one of the pitchers, I'm thinking. But I mean, he's coming out ahead. He's gonna have Steele cheap next year. He's got like a 1-2 pitcher and then like a superstar for a while. So I mean, I get it for Raymond. You're like sunk cost. I don't care. I've made those trades before. But I think it came out nicely for Nick, seeing as 2 people who are not playing for him, and now he has Luis Castillo, Dylan Cease, and Mike Trout. It's like take away 0, give me 150.
I like Zach's review of it. Kyle, you don't even need to talk. I think we'll just move on off of that one.
I think
unless you want to agree.
I think I saw you and Ray the day after this happened, or maybe a few days after, and yeah, dude, I feel like it helped Ray, so I'm not trying to roast him too much, but
Right.
it made my Corby trade feel a little less hot, So let's throw one disclaimer out there. Also, Mike Trout, since this trade has happened, has kind of confirmed this preseason notion that he will run. He now has 5 stolen bases. So like he's essentially a first round player now. If he continues to do that. So I think even Mike Trout straight up for Junior Caminero is kind of like a really good trade. And then you got one of the best pitchers in baseball who's off to a slow start. And then Dylan Cease, who I think when we saw Ray, I think he mentioned that was a throw in. He's really good, So
I mean, not this year, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Dylan Cease like won a Cy Young next year,
So yeah. I know I'm goofing. Like, it's really good that Ray got Caminero. I think he's really good, but I agree with Zach. I think holding your poker chips a little bit more closely next time might be a good move.
All right, makes me feel good then. I think, obviously, no, I'm not trying to be mean to Raymond. I don't know. I love that you guys are being mean to Raymond. I think it's good. It's good for the league if people like my trades. But I don't know. It's kind of like the Corbin Carroll thing in a lesser extent. Like there's only so many prospects like Junior Caminero out there. And as a result, if you can't get Jackson Holiday, you can't get Jackson Chourio, you can't get Wyatt Langford because Brendan owns every other good prospect who's like a top 5-1 going into the year. Basically, it comes down to like whatever the person is asking for, you have to pay to get someone like that. I think Raymond just paid whatever he thought he had to pay. I like it obviously too. And Kyle makes a good point about Trout. Trout's stolen 5 bases, including the 2 today. And that's more than he's stolen over the last 3 years combined. I think it's almost 4 years combined. So if he runs, I don't even know if Raymond and I either thought that was going to happen. Love it, but we'll see. He's also much more likely to get hurt though than probably anybody else. And I traded him guys who I just couldn't afford to house. So
For sure.
Well,
love that one.
There was news about Trout stealing before the season started, and this is the lowest. I know we're a keeper league, things are a little different, but this is the lowest cost Trout has been in, years and years and years since I started playing fantasy. But
the Angels have said they want to run.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like it's not completely out of the blue, which good on you for getting Trout and acquiring him.
As someone who spent up for Trout last year, they also talked about him running before the season last year.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
All
I feel like
right.
that
Fair
happens with the good players.
So I think he said the last 3 years that he was going to run, and then I had him and he stole 0 bases.
Okay.
So I mean, he's actually doing it, which is cool. But he definitely like in spring training last year was like, like feeling healthy and feeling good. I'm going to start going on the bases again.
If I set the over under for Mike Trout right now, just we can come back at the end of the year and check it at 12.5 steals over under. What do you guys take?
He's already
Over.
at 5. I'll take the over. Yeah.
See, I think it's because I would probably say 12. I feel like what's going to probably happen, and I'm not just trying to be like a cold water thing because you guys were so glamorously praising it. Like, I think as soon as Trout has any kind of little ding, just because of all the injuries he's had, he's going to stop doing everything like that. He might steal like 8 in April, and then he might not steal again the rest of the year.
I think that's true.
Didn't he have 2 today?
Yeah, but I think he's fully healthy right now. I think it's the healthiest he'll be all year. And the guy who
Right.
said all the injuries he's had, I feel like as soon as he has one little like hamstring flare up or his arm's a little bit sore, he won't do any of it. I hope I'm wrong. Again, I'm not saying he shouldn't steal. He's amazing at it, obviously. I think he's not been caught either yet. I don't know. I hope it continues.
I think he wants to beat Ohtani in MVP. So
That'd be hilarious if he wins the year Ohtani leaves.
yeah, he wants to get it. And I mean, Ohtani's not in the lineup. Why not steal a base? Everyone else sucks. So
Yeah.
like, it's no worries about getting out on the base path. Who cares?
You guys have no concerns about Luis Castillo before I move off of it? Luis Castillo sucks.
No,
I'll buy him.
Yeah. He's bad every year when it's cold.
Especially with my Parks factor. I think it's gonna be a good year. It's good for him.
All right, well, let's move on to the next one then.
One note, just because I clicked on Raymond's team.
Yeah.
I will say, looking at the team, it is starting from nothing. There are many pieces who I think will be very good coming even for next year. So,
I would not be shocked if. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, just even now with the Caminero, just Kobe Mayo, Dylan Cruz, Caminero, I feel is he might have maybe of 3 best prospects of anyone right now. Like I know some people have higher ones, but with those 3, it's like
He's got good ones.
that's pretty unimpeachable. So
And even outside, I mean, steal for the minimum. I know.
yeah,
Totally. I think Kyle, you prefer Cease. You said when we talked about it. But Steele at the minimum. Steele's probably back in the next couple weeks, and I would venture to guess probably by the end of April, it's most likely he has one or probably both of Caminero called up by then and Steele. He's probably going to have the 2 best players in the trade beyond this year. So I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of value there.
It's got Bobby Miller, Steele, and Grayson Rodriguez almost for all of them cheap. So
Yeah.
cool.
Raymond's building himself a little Raymond core.
Good job, Raymond. I get it. That's life.
All right. So next up, though, we have a little 1-for-1 challenge trade here. Eloy Jimenez for Sonny Gray. This is Mark and his daddy and Mark. Kyle, you're the Mark and his dad guy because Zach went first last time. So what do you think here?
I think Daddy cool. I think Daddy brought this one in. This might just be like philosophical. I feel like I bias against pitchers. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair trade, and I would just lean Eloy on the upside. He's not super cheap this year, but and I know he gets hurt, but I think he's still very talented. He's already gotten hurt, but yeah.
Yeah, Eloy is like the most pitcher version of a hitter I feel like that exists because he is also just always hurt.
That's true.
What about you, Zach? Do you have a strong lean?
Honestly, no strong lean. Without looking at other teams, this seems like one where you're like, I'm gonna go find a hitter. I feel like I have an extra pitcher. I'm gonna go find a pitcher. I have an extra hitter, and then you just found the one that matched.
Yeah.
I made trades like that with I have too many corner infielders. I'm just kind of finding an even outfielder. So
Find someone in the same tier. I think that's probably what happened.
I feel like they're in the same tier, and I think it's a fair trade. I'm guessing one of them wanted pitching, one wanted hitting.
Yeah. Nope, I pretty much agree. I think there's not a ton we need to say about that one. And if you guys will move on, we can. The next one's a pretty big one too. This is a 4 for 3. So good job, Mark and Mark.
I missed this one. Wow.
This is Matt Chapman, Yandy Diaz, Justin Verlander, and Corbin Burns for Edward Cabrera, Spencer Jones, and Gunnar Henderson. Between Mark and Brendan.
Wow.
Is that your face?
I literally don't think I saw this one. This is like my first view of this trade.
Okay, I guess I'll go to Kyle first then if you want to take a sec to process it. Kyle, what do you think? Or Zach, do you want to just give us your blind reaction to it?
Whoever got Gunnar Henderson won.
Okay, that's
That's
Brendan.
how I feel. I think that's, I'd rather have Gunnar Henderson than any pitchers, and that's it.
True.
So the one caveat I'll throw out is that I think with all the pitcher injuries, I would go out on a limb and say that Corbin Burns is definitely my number one pitcher by a good margin, and I think Mark.
Why? Which other ones got hurt that were the number one before that?
Your other two pitchers, maybe.
Oh,
I know it sucks, but
I'm just fucking around.
no,
he was saying
crazy,
Shane
man.
Bieber. He was thinking Shane Bieber.
He meant Shane Bieber and Bobby Miller,
and Jared Jones, the other top pitcher,
who was sort of a Jared.
No, but in all seriousness, like I think Mark has a really good team, so I think from his perspective, he wants to go out and compete. Anytime you buy, the number one pitcher in fantasy, I think that should come at a premium. I think to Zach's point, it did. Like I said this at the beginning of the season. I think we're seeing it now. I think Gunnar, despite a bunch of homers here, like we're somehow underestimating him. Maybe not like right in this instance, but like preseason, like I think he's closer to like what we were saying Corbin Carroll was than, I don't know, like another prospect like Nolan Jones or something like that, or Evan Carter.
The guy from last year, you're saying though, yeah.
Yeah, like I think Gunnar is like a first round player. He's emerging as a first round player, so I think this is a tough look if he continues to do that. I think Mark has some other cornerstone players like CJ Abrams has emerged as just elite all around. He's not just a contact hitter now. He's just incredible.
Didn't expect that.
Yeah.
He might not steal 40 bases because he might hit 40 home runs this year. He might not be on first base enough.
Right.
That's true, but it's a good problem to have. And
No, of
I'm
course.
bummed because I had him last year. I kept him and I dropped him due to a slow start. So like that's just kudos. We've talked about how Mark has been pretty smart late last season, picking up players off the waiver. Abrams lands into that category, but man, I just feel like Gunner's another piece of that puzzle for Mark. So I'm kind of sad to see him trade him away to Brendan. But I'd have to side with Zach overall here, despite getting Corbin Burns. I think Gunnar is just too big of a piece.
Yeah, I think I mostly agree with you guys. I do want to say I think that if you simplified it down, because it's 4 for 3, it's kind of crowded. I'm not sure either one right now is counting on a ton from Spencer Jones. Matt Chapman feels kind of throw-in-y to me. I don't know if you guys have a high opinion of Matt Chapman, but I think Yandy's pretty useful. I think it makes a ton of sense. It feels sort of like a deal just to go for it this year, which obviously is what Mark's doing and Mark should do. And it's hard to do that when you get the best player in the trade. But even if we do think Gunnar Henderson is like a first-round pick now, to Kyle's point, like I agree with you. Corbin Burns is probably the number one starter in fantasy right now.
Yeah.
At worst, it's 2 or 3. So you're probably breaking even for this year. Another reason I bring up that specifically, though, is like obviously pitchers are more risky than hitters. And I made the joke about Strider and Cole a couple seconds ago because I think it's ridiculous. Like the pitchers are all good till they're broken, and they're all broken pretty soon if they haven't been broken before. But assuming Corbin Burns doesn't break, Corbin Burns is not that much more expensive than Gunnar. Like he's probably going to be a top 15 to 20 pick at worst next year too. Like I think there's a good chance you have a couple of years of both of them being really cheap-ish. I know Gunnar's like $10 less, but it's not like so much money that I think it's a huge long-term advantage either. I just want to say also, I think Edward Cabrera is excellent. I think that's a really good throw, and I don't know if that's before. And this is before he came up and pitched. He was hurt at the time, but good get by Brendan. I think getting him thrown in there. But for Mark,
Orioles trade for Edward Cabrera in real life.
Yeah,
that's where I want the real trade. Is the Orioles to really trade for him.
Dude, I'm in on that. It'd be great. Let's give him like Austin Hayes or Ramon Urias and see if they say yes to that. And Verlander's back next week, so I don't know. Overall, I think it's probably closer to 50-50. It sounds like you guys both definitely like Brennan's side better. But I don't think it's bad either way.
It's a
I
good
mean,
argument.
You got the number one pitcher, so I mean, I don't think it can be a landslide in Brendan's direction. If you're going for it and you get
Okay.
the number one pitcher. So I
Maybe
just,
I misunderstood then. I thought you guys were sort of strongly leaning to the Gunner side. I think it's pretty close.
yeah, it's just like I still lean just like whoever gets Gunner probably won the trade, but if
Yeah.
Mark wins the league, then it doesn't matter. Who cares?
I mean, Mark's argument is probably that, before Gunner has now exploded onto the scene and been incredible, but he probably viewed this as upgrading power, like overall roto, like that Matt Chapman and Yandy would hit more than Gunner, and Spencer Jones, how much is he going to play this year? Who knows? And then he probably views it certainly as an upgrade, as much as you might like Cabrera getting the number one pitcher. And that's probably the viewpoint, which I think is rational. And then Verlander, we haven't even talked about him. So I think like I can see it working out for Mark, but I definitely do lean Brendan.
If Mark finishes third this year, and then next year finishes fourth, is it a win long term? So I feel like that's sort of the way I'm starting to think about this when I'm making trades like the one I made to give up Caminero, like process. If you win the league, I think it's obviously a win. If you come in second or third, and then maybe like third the next year, is it? And this is more just like a philosophical question. I'm curious what you guys think on that.
Yeah, well said. I feel like it all depends on what your goal is. I feel like third in this league, how close it's been, is close enough. Like I would call that a win overall.
Yeah, especially 2 years in a row. Like you know, you got third and then didn't come in like eighth the next year, then definitely.
That's sort of where I've landed too, which is why I said third. I think third is around my personal cutoff, so I think that makes sense. All right, enough philosophy though. Let's move on to another one for one smaller one. Maikel Garcia for Bobby Miller between Raymond and Mark's dad. Let's see. I asked you first, Zach, last time or no?
I don't know. Oh yeah, go.
Okay, Kyle, up to you. And Kyle, you probably feel strongly about one side of this trade. Do you like Maikel Garcia or Bobby Miller better?
Yeah, I've been saying since the season started, Maikel is my sweet little prince, and I had him at one point last year, and I just hope to one day be reunited with him. But Bobby Miller, man, like I don't know, I guess what the background on this trade was. I think this was related to Bobby Miller's injury, and pitchers were dropping like flies. So it's tough. I think I love to skew hitter over pitcher, but I think Bobby Miller's value is overall much higher than Maikel Garcia's, despite Garcia's really great start to initially begin the season, first week or so. So yeah, I think overall I like Bobby Miller more, but the whole injury question, it just becomes more team dependent, team context. So I kind of shrug at this one, but I definitely think Bobby Miller's the better player. For someone like Raymond who just wants to kind of wait and win next year, I think it's a no-brainer to get someone who's like maybe a top 5 pitcher potentially. Who knows? So I like it for both sides, honestly.
What about you, Zach? Sort of in line with that, a little bit different.
I definitely love it for Raymond and don't hate it on either side. I get it. I mean, last week I was looking at every single one of my pitchers being like, should I trade this guy? You know, Pivetta got hurt. I mean, he's not getting surgery, but like, you know, you're like when pitchers are going down left or right, it was like, all right, I guess I'm just gonna be streaming all year and just should trade all my pitchers for like, you know,
whatever I can get.
Whatever I can get while I can get it, and then just, you know, stream whoever I know is gonna start tomorrow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. I think I mean, you know, I've traded elite pitchers before who were, you know, I think I've traded Julio Urias in this league 3 different times when he was top 5 pitcher. So, you know, you like, it honestly doesn't come back to bite you that often when you trade really good pitchers. Yeah. Even though it's good to get them, I feel like you don't get bit that often when you trade.
Trading for them, you get bit. Like Shane McClanahan last year. Sometimes I gave up really Austin Riley for Shane McClanahan.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes it really pays off. You get that pitcher, you know, your staff's crazy elite, but like you don't get bit that much when you trade them because they're going to get hurt at some point. But for Raymond, I think it's great. And then, yeah, Maikel Garcia, I was not familiar with his game, but he was good when I watched the one Orioles series. So.
Yeah, he's had a rough like last week or so, but dude, he is exciting. I think he's pretty solid. And the Royals as a team are just fun right now.
Dude,
too.
He hits the ball hard. Like every single time I feel like he touches the ball, it's like cracking off the bat. So
he barrels it up a lot.
Yeah.
The Bobby Miller moving to I think I agree with what Kyle said and what it sounds like you agree with too, Zach, that Bobby Miller is probably, even though I sort of tend to lean hitter over pitcher too, I think most of us do. I think Miller's a good enough player above Michael anyway that I would probably prefer that side generally. But I think it's an interesting move that Raymond's taking because Raymond, in his attempt to sort of get as many good players as possible, I know you guys feel like he gave up Cease probably a little bit too cheaply back to that trade from before, but talking about Raymond, like he valued Justin Steele, even though he was traded at the time, pretty highly as a $1 or $6, pardon me, player. And clearly he's going for in his rebuild year here. Michael Garcia, he'd rather have the Bobby Miller pitching play in a way where I feel like even if you think Miller's slightly better or 20% better, you might want the hitter long term just because they're safer, like we keep talking about. Maybe Raymond is going to bring a new age of caring about pitching more than I feel like some of us do in a way that is probably good for league dynamics, just because I feel like a lot of us will not trade for pitchers the way I think general fantasy advice says to do so. Maybe Raymond is not doing that.
Yeah,
with that said, all of us agree with this one. It sounds like all of us would have done the Bobby Miller side on this. Not that it's bad. I don't think it's bad either, but I do prefer Bobby Miller even if you start right now.
Yeah. But and when you get pitchers when they're young and that cheap, even if they do blow their arm out, if you don't think you're going to win that year, you just throw them on the IL. You don't have to drop them. You just you're fine. They're still going to be worth $18 when they come back or whatever.
Yeah, that's sometimes I feel like you get the best values is when a pitcher like that. I mean, we saw it with Roman keeping my McClanahan cut from last year in the low teens. I mean, I think right now some of my best keepers are the injured pitchers, even though the pitchers get hurt all the time. I think there is something to be said for that.
Yeah. It's just a longer game.
Yeah. Dude, it's so crazy how much they get hurt. All right, well, let's move off that one then. Let's get to a Kyle and a Raymond trade. It's not Michael Garcia, though. This was Brett Beatty for Ezekiel Duran. So, Zach, since you're not Kyle, what do you think?
I like it for both sides. Beatty's a higher upside later for Raymond, and Duran's playing right now because people are hurt in Texas. So Kyle gets a bat and one of the most potent out lineups. I mean, I had Jared Walsh on my team for a few weeks. I get it. And then Raymond just got someone who knows, maybe Beatty's good.
Yeah, this time of year ago, Beatty had tons of buzz.
Yeah, totally. I get it for both people. Makes sense.
Kyle, is Duran someone specifically we're targeting? Is it just that you wanted someone who's playing more often? You want the versatility of all his positions? He's eligible more play. What was it?
I mean, I had been scheming to get a better third baseman, and Beatty.
Scheming, Kyle.
Beatty got hurt, and I didn't want to drop him, and I also didn't want to just go forward with empty stats in my roster, and I had too many players juggling around. I didn't want to drop, so I didn't want to forfeit that day or two of stats. Made the trade. I tried to make it before 12. Ray was really nice and easy to work with. I reached out to him. He accepted, and then I was able to make a couple transactions on the waiver that I wanted. And then from there, because Duran has outfield eligibility, I knew that Papa Spark might be interested in Duran down the road, which ended up working out. So that was the plan.
Did you talk to him about wanting outfield? Why did you know him having outfield eligibility would make Mark's dad want him?
Because I was trying to trade with him before.
Oh, he explicitly said, I want out. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were just like, dude, Mark's dad loves outfield eligibility.
You're right.
I was like, bro, what the hell do you know about Mark's dad that we don't know?
I didn't really explain that, but yeah, I tried.
Thought in his eyes.
No, I tried to trade with him actually, multiple guys, and I feel like, I mean, he was super reasonable, and he just said, yeah, like we weren't the best trading partners because we're both kind of weak and stolen bases, and he's like, okay, I'm offering all this stuff that I think is somewhat fair, but he's like, dude, like I need outfielders. So I was like, all right, I'll work on it.
I'll get you an outfielder.
Yeah.
I see. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. I think it makes sense for both of you generally pretty well. I don't think it's anything crazy. I think Beatty's the higher upside play, so for Raymond, it makes sense to get that. Anything else on that one?
No, just Mark's dad.
Does Mark's dad still want outfielders? It's good for the rest of us to know.
Maybe. I mean, you should ask him. Yeah.
He's got two.
Yeah, he got two more today.
All right. Well, here is another Mark's dad trade, this time with you, Zach. So Ranger Suarez for Brian Bayo. Kyle, you're not Mark's dad or Zach, although you seem to know Mark's dad back to front really well. What went through his mind with this one?
Yeah, after our trip to Europe, Zach and I know each other very well, and Jack and I certainly do. So, yeah, good to see you guys, close. And let's see. Yeah, I think this one's close. I mean, I know Suarez just had a really good game. I think was that right before or right after this, Zach?
I traded him right after
This is the
complete
day
game-
after the
the
Suarez
day
long.
after. I
Yeah.
got the complete game shut up and traded him.
Nice. Okay. So I think you're trying to time the market a little bit here. So I would tip my cap to that. I think it's close. Like I'm not a huge Suarez guy. I feel like it kind of fits the bill of the glob, so I should like him. But I'd say you probably got the higher upside, Zach. So I like your side.
Yeah, I
do
think
you
I
think?
mostly agree. I think Suarez is probably 55% of the time, the rest of the way, the better player, but it's not very. It's slightly more often. I think there's way more outcomes there where Bayo takes like a step and legitimately is like significantly better.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably make it too if I were you and try to get Bayo. It's
Yeah.
close though.
So honestly, I think they're kind of the same level pitcher, and I just like Bayo's next two matchups better. That's really it. I
How about
like.
that?
Smart.
Yeah.
That's
It
really
was
smart.
just Suarez. Suarez, I think he's on a heater and he's too good to drop. I already had claims in to drop him out before that start. Like I was gonna start him and then drop him for the next day.
Yeah.
But after that start, I was like, it's two shutouts in a row. He's throwing like 18 innings without a run. And I also love Ranger Suarez. Even from like 2 years ago, I picked him up when he just was in the Phillies bullpen, and then he became their closer. Then they ran out of starters, and then he just became a starter. And then he's threw like 30 scoreless innings to end the season.
His
He's
path is wild.
I love Ranger Suarez. I like watch his games beyond fantasy, whether he's on my team or not.
That's a great point about the
But,
streamers too. Like looking at the matchups, because I mean, if you were going to cut Suarez either way, and you might end up cutting Bayo, just get the guy who's better right now.
yeah, I just like looked at what was on the waivers, and I think Suarez is better than a waiver wire pitcher right now. Like
Yeah.
I agree.
his next matchup is at Cincinnati, which honestly he could still shove him. It's not impossible. I just didn't really want that one. And then Bayo, I think, is at Cleveland and at Detroit or something. I was like, yeah, I'd probably start him for both of those. So, I don't even view. I like Brian Bayo, but I don't even know if I'll keep him all year. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much it. So, I get
True.
wanting Suarez. He's pitching great, and yeah, I'm just going on matchups. That's it.
It's a really good point though. The more I'm thinking about this, Zach, because with all but like 50% ish of my roster, I definitely think as far as like 3 weeks or less down the road too. I think that's kind of the way you have to do it in a daily moves league. It's smart.
Yes, especially I really just maybe only like 3 of my pitchers I think are just like set it and forget it. Like even like I like Kyle Harrison, but I've sat him for a couple starts already even.
Yeah.
And he's better than I thought he'd be, but it's really just like Kirby, Peralta, and maybe Pivetta now. But otherwise, I'm kind of looking at the starts.
Well, it's like the old. I know the Rockies suck now, but for a long time there was that period of time where you wouldn't play a guy unless he was like a top 15, 20 starter in cores. There's
Totally.
I guess like the
Totally.
Braves, even with the injuries of the Dodgers, there's a lot of guys I wouldn't want to face out there outside of maybe again the top like 15, 20 starters. I think it's
Right,
the way you have to do it.
So yeah, that's
It's
really
funny
it.
because I spend so much damn time looking at this stuff and I'm obsessed. And Bridget,
That is funny. I love it.
Yeah, Bridget was asking me like how the league was going, and I tried to explain my
You're winning.
strategy. And I was trying to explain my strategy, and then she said, "Oh, so you pitch him and ditch him?" And I
That's
just thought
better
it
than
was the
pump and
funniest.
dump, I guess, dude. Like,
That
Pitch
is
him
kind
and
of how it is.
pitch him. So I just feel like that fits in, and I think you're smart, Zach. Like I feel like everyone should look at the schedules. Like if pitching is all the same, then yeah, pick on the little guy, right? You want to pick
Turn
on
and
the
burn.
A's and
Yeah.
maybe the Twins right now. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I just think it's I was trying to stream from the first game on. Like I know you were all over it, Kyle, but I just like had no sense of the league, to be honest. Like I was just like, I don't know. I was like, do any of these pitchers or any of these even work good against
Yeah.
anyone? But now that it's everyone's had 4 starts, I feel like now it's time to
You're right.
kind of get more on it.
Streaming is such a fun / like rewarding thing. Because sometimes you'll stream a guy and he's like Suarez yesterday for Kyle where he just shoves out of fucking nowhere. That's awesome. But then there's other days you pick up a streamer and it's like he gives up 9 runs in a third of an inning and you're like, what the fuck? Why did I do this?
I'm gonna be thinking about that. I streamed Suarez and John Gray, both of them for both of their starts, and they're both incredible. both like each five on the same day, 5 days apart from each other. I mean,
I
I'm
love
still thinking about the Suarez, John Gray, and Reynaldo Lopez day. I think it was 22 innings, 24 strikeouts, and 1 run scored. I was like,
Oof.
there we
That's
go.
so icy.
All from number 5 starters. I was like, I'll be thinking about that when I come in 7th place later.
The days that happens is when I look at the other teams that have good pitchers and I'm like, haha, Dylan Cease and Luis Castillo got fucking shelled today, you idiot. Like,
My
that's the
worst
best.
pitcher is George Kirby, so you get it.
Dude, yeah, exactly. Or yeah, the George Kirby owner, or the Luis Castillo, or the Kevin Gossman, even the good pitchers who aren't hurt yet suck.
Right.
Suck.
Yeah. All right. Well, good strategy talk there. Let's move on to our last trade. And it's timing out pretty good. We have about 6 minutes left on this one here. So a lot of passing around here. A lot of Mark's dad in these trades, and a lot of passing around the same couple guys here. Not Glaber this
Loving
time,
it.
but
Jack, I'm loving it. You're making all these
Yeah.
trades, and honestly, I think they're all pretty good. Like we
Yeah.
said, I think they all make sense. I think
Yeah.
I like the moving.
Jack's making moves, man. So he trades and gets from Kyle Ezekiel Duran and Jorge Soler. And remember, he wants outfielders. And he gave up Michael Garcia, who's not an outfielder.
That's true.
So Zach, what do you think?
With no research on it, I feel like Duran is a throw-in to me, and he probably, once someone's healthy, gets less playing time. But Michael Garcia for Jorge Soler. I don't know Soler's price, but I don't know. I think he is potentially better than Garcia this year. So I think it's probably, I would lean Soler, but if Garcia is cheaper, he has a higher upside. So, yeah. Depends what you need, I guess, is more what I'm saying. If you need home runs, I'd go Soler. If you need stolen bases, hits, average, I'd probably go Garcia.
Yeah,
the
that's really well said. I think are you good, Kyle?
For the record, Garcia's $7 and Soler's $6.
Oh, so it's even on that too. So, yeah, what I said. So it's really whatever your team needs. I think they're both kind of even. Like we'll be close together in the player rater, just in different ways.
Yeah, that's really well said. I think that's probably what happened here. Kyle, you can tell us if we're wrong, but I think probably you decided you wanted to get a little bit more steals. And I know Michael's been hitting some bombs early, but he's probably like a 10 to 15 power guy as opposed to a 20, 25, 30 plus. And Soler's probably going to hit 35, 40 home runs. He'll just do it with bursts. Garcia also leads off. Maybe you're looking at runs, want to maximize your plate appearances, want to maximize your batting average. You're not as concerned about power and RBIs right now. That's probably my guess as to what happened here.
Yeah, I would argue that it's mainly a positional issue where I really wanted a better third baseman. And then I'm really banking on power from some of my guys who just haven't really shown up yet. Like I need Aaron Judge to play. I need Spencer Torkelson to kind of heat up a little bit. He hasn't done much. And so like Soler, I think already has 3 home runs. He'll be fine. I think he's a good player. I think he will help Jack. So I wanted to offer him something good. But yeah, I think I'm just kind of banking on other guys to be my power providers. And I'm pretty weak overall in stolen bases. So my thought is hopefully Mikel's a little bit closer to 20 home runs in my book than what you were saying, Nick. Fingers crossed. But my thought is that he'll definitely have some help for me in stolen bases. So that was the rationale.
Yeah, all I meant was he profiles as more of a stolen base stuff than either of the other guys you traded.
Exactly. I'm just saying, like, I hope it's a little more than 15 homers.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Well, how many has he had in his whole career though? He's not. I mean, I know he's had a really good power start, but I don't know if you can just assume he'll hit 20 plus this year.
It's not an assumption. I just think he's like, if you look at his savant, like, not only is he making great contact and hitting the ball hard, but his launch angle is a little bit better than last year. And
right, and I've seen that with like
leading
Yandy
off.
Diaz a bunch of years in the first month, and
Yeah,
Vlad at certain points in his career.
I could be wrong.
Yandy Diaz vibes. Michael Garcia is kind of Yandy Diaz.
Yeah, look,
Right.
I'm not trying to be mean to Michael Garcia. All I meant is
I think that's
he's
good.
he's got like 3 lifetime home runs before April, so I'm surprised hearing you say he's definitely going to hit more than 10 or 15.
I didn't say definitely. I said I'm hoping that it's.
I think he's going to hit
to...
under 40, dude. I don't know.
Also, like, I could be wrong. Maybe he sucks, but he was one of my top
he's good.
targets.
He's obviously really good.
He's a guy I really wanted in the draft, and yeah, so I'm glad that I was able to offer this up. I actually offered something really similar to Ray, and then Garcia went on a tear, the first week or so. So now that he's cooled off, I thought might be a good opportunity.
That's smart. Time the market, like we were saying, because right, Michael was unstoppable for the first week or so, and then went on a little bit of a slow streak.
Yeah,
he was killing the Orioles, and then Honestly, now that I'm looking at it as a 3-trade rotation, I feel like everyone kind of came out with what they wanted, right? Ray
Yeah.
gets a young pitcher, you get Mike Garcia, and Jack gets like a power hitting outfielder.
There was one big 3-team trade to be made there. That would have been funny.
Yeah. Like looking at them all on the screen, I was like, I feel like everyone was probably looking for what they got at the end of that trade cycle.
I think so too.
Does that make you, Kyle, or is Mark's dad our trade leader for the year, or is it Brendan?
Probably Brendan, right?
I don't know. I don't want to count it on the spot, but I feel like
I mean, Raymond traded every player on his team.
Raymond's made a decent amount of trades too. That's a good point. A lot of activity there. We have about a minute and a half. Any final thoughts on any of those trades overall? Yay? Nay?
I mean, we all know Brendan's team's going to be stacked next year. It's kind of crazy.
Who would have thought of all
Yeah.
the ones that hasn't worked out so far? It's Holiday who's doing the worst.
I mean, yeah, so that's but yeah, I mean, good job. I think everyone kind of strengthened their teams who's competing and people who are going for it next year got some good pieces. So I think there's good trades, good talks.
Just scrolling back through some of the trades like early March or mid March, we were making fun of the Luke Rayleigh, Ryan O'Hearn trade, Nick. Like Ryan O'Hearn is actually good now.
Well, we knew Ryan O'Hearn was be good. I mean, he just isn't going to play every day. He's been awesome. Dude. This Savant, he's like 100%
I mean,
on everything.
he's literally the best lefty in baseball right now.
Yeah, he's doing legitimately incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need a new nickname for him, like ROH. I don't know if that's too, like, I don't know.
ROH, baby.
Like,
No, his name is just Brian O'Hearn. Like,
Yeah.
I love him because he has like resting angry face, dude. He looks
I
so
know, 'cause he
pissed
doesn't
all
smile.
the
He
fucking
gets to
time. I remember last year when he was having like the first month that was good, they were like, can you take a little bit of like a breath now? You're not probably going back to AAA. He's like, I'm never going back to fucking AAA. And it's like, yeah, I don't think you are, Ryan O'Hearn. I think you're in the big leagues for good, buddy. Like,
Yeah, I mean, he's getting that check. It's all good.
yeah,
yeah, he's
been
so much fun.
incredible.
It was funny when he fell over yesterday, feeling that ball in right field too.
Oh my God, just laid there.
He's so goofy looking out there. All right, well, let's hit the ad. Come back. We'll do waivers and then the Zach activity. All right, see you guys on the other side.
Alrighty.
Good morning, haters. It's 5 a.m. and you still in bed? You hitting that snooze button? Still making excuses? You're choosing poor. You still listen to those people that say you're gonna amount to nothing? That guy on Twitter who said your face looked like a tomato? Man, fuck those people. Put in the work, get that sweat, screw the haters, and choose rich.
Right here. Welcome back, guys. We're back. We're going to talk some waivers now. Kyle has elegantly shared the screen of waivers, and there's just, we were saying in the pre-show here, there's a little over 2 weeks of waivers since the last time I recorded with Brendan and Griffin. So we're going to spare you guys going through literally every single waiver move. We're just going to talk about some of the big ones that we like. Which I'll kick off. One of the more recent ones is Andy Pages, not Pages, but Pages by you, Kyle. I loved. We talked about this. I wanted him and Leiter both, obviously, and Leiter sucked today, so you got the better one, it looks like. Great pickup, I think. Chance to be like this year's Josh Outman. A little bit different skill set, but there's an opening right now. I think he's going to play most days. If he proves he can play and succeed every day. Kike Hernandez, Jason Hayward when he's back, Chris Taylor, they've all been terrible. Miguel Rojas is terrible. There's plenty of ways he can keep them in the lineup.
Totally.
I think Eric was smart to pick up Jesse Winker. He's been a stud so far.
Dude, he's been really good so far.
And it's not like out of the blue in reality. Like he's had a really good year before. He was like a borderline MVP candidate.
Yeah, he's had a good career.
Yeah, he just got hurt a lot early on. He would play, and they wouldn't play him against lefties when he was younger in Cincinnati too. He's always been really exciting.
I don't know why you're the only one on like the Yarborough train, Nick. Like I think people should continue to look out for these guys who don't start but just accumulate some decent innings. Vulture a win or two.
Sorry.
So, you're
I
good.
feel like they're hard to find. I'm always hunting them, but like it's hard to find them. You know what I mean? Because like the worst is that you get an opener, then you have to use one of your starts, and they're just like,
oh, that's the absolute worst.
That is.
There's a
Yeah,
stretch
like
there where I had Brazier and Yarborough because Brazier hadn't pitched for like 4 days, and I was like, please don't fucking be an opener. Please don't fucking be an opener.
crossing your fingers.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, as long as you have certainty. That's a good point, though. Yeah, anything else stick out to you guys?
Raymond's been on here. He's made some good ones. Got Kirby Yates. That was good. I don't know if he's dropped him. Brendan
Yeah,
getting
Yates was a good pickup.
Brendan got Andrew Vaughn. I don't know. Someone dropped Andrew Vaughn.
Yeah, Vaughn was out there for a day or two, actually.
I mean, he's been terrible, but he still
Yeah.
is.
He got roughed up a little bit in his first start back, but I think Griffin getting Eric Swanson, that's someone who I've had at certain points before all my injuries added up. He just came off the IL. He was really good last year. I like that one a lot.
I like Swanson. Whoever got Yimi Garcia beat me to the punch on that one.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
me. Thank you.
Yeah.
yeah, he's good.
Yeah, I think he saw. The Blue Jays have a couple of really good relievers between them and then also Romano. The back of that bullpen's pretty filthy.
Yeah, has been for a while. Like all their second guys have like the last few years. Like it's pretty safe bet that you'll get like kind of a filthy pitcher. Like Trevor Richards, I add all the time because he can like he's like the Ryan Yarbrough guy. Sometimes he'll get like 2 innings with like 7 strikeouts, 2.1 innings or something.
I thought
You've
this
still
was
got.
I thought this was a funny rage cut by Miz because I think he cut Clark Schmidt and then picked him up again for $5.
That's his new Domingo Herman.
Yeah.
Just like the 4th or 5th Yankee starter. Which means
So-
at some point soon, Clark Schmidt's throwing a no-hitter.
Yeah, I was about to say he'll probably have a perfect game after a rage cut. So someone should definitely pick him up. If you see Miz cut Schmidt, that's the
Do it
signal.
for the start that Miz doesn't use, because Miz got like all the ones around it, but the perfect game. Poor Mark.
Oh,
I think Zach by you, like Perkins, it was it was a week or two back now. It was even like, no, it was about a week ago probably. That's one where I had a bid on him too for $1. Now Yelich is out for a little bit. He's playing every day. He looks pretty good to me. I don't know. Is he just someone you like, or I think I had a bid for $1. You must have bid like 2 or 3 that day.
I don't remember why. So honestly, I think I was just looking at Brewers because I was just looking at teams that have just the offense has been better than I was expecting.
Yeah.
And just was trying to get. And the Brewers have just been really good, so I was like, I just want whoever's playing for the Brewers right now.
Makes sense.
So the other like really good teams, it's hard to get anyone on the team. Like there's no Dodgers, Braves, Orioles, Yankees out there. So
it was back, I think, at the end of last weekend too. But another one I really liked was when I think it was Roman. Let me make sure I'm not lying to you. Got Jose Buto or Butto, however you say his name.
Oh yeah.
Pitchers are risky, but I think Butto's kind of good.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's somebody who, if he had been out there for $1, I would have got. I think Roman must have been more than $1 that day. Because whatever day it was, I also had a claim for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got him on the 15th. He bid 2. Okay, so he beat me by $1 on that one.
John Gray's
Good job,
back
Roman.
awesome.
I know
He's
it's
been
not
very good. I just don't trust him.
I know it's not always fun when we're just talking about ourselves because I think right now we're 3 of the top 4 teams. But I think it was smart. It looks like you did this also, Nick, but like picking up and streaming guys who played today. Like, why not?
Yeah.
There aren't that many players playing today, so might as well, pick up a couple, stats. And I think Ramirez had a good game, if I'm remembering correctly.
I don't think he did anything besides like an RBI. He went like a 4. But same. I mean, Benintendi, who I cut, I picked up yesterday in the same exact position because he had a doubleheader.
Exactly.
And then Benintendi's lazy ass didn't play the second game.
This is the worst when you pick someone up and then they get the X the day.
I was like, bro, you're on the White Sox. There's like
Awesome.
2 White Sox better than you, and you're not even any good. What are you doing?
You're like back to the waiver wire with you.
Yeah, banish the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, that's
Kyle, you too. Then I mean, let's just make this a Nick, Kyle, and Zach fest. But we texted about it. Luper Fido, he's coming at some point.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think
He's new Jordan.
even after I picked him up, like Abreu has been doing worse and worse. Like I think
Abreu's so
definitely-
cooked, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
it's
gone.
good.
And honestly, like Jake Myers isn't very good either. There's plenty of ways they could finesse that outfield to put at least one of them out. Like you could put Luper Fido takes some first base at bats in the minors. He could definitely just play first base, or if you want to get Myers out of there, you can spare Abreu the shame immediately and just play him some there instead. So you could do it either way.
And
I think it's coming.
as a team, so like they want something, right? Like
Exactly.
that division's too good to drop too many games. You already saw the Orioles bring up Holiday. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna do something. So
Well,
that's a
we're
good-
now past great point, Zach. We're past the point now. That's why I think my prediction, if it's not a bold one, but probably Luper Fido and Caminero are both up before the next pod, is my guess. We talked about Caminero. Like I think the Rays were waiting. The Rays might wait another week or so because Caminero played like a week at the end of last season, so he has some days. But I think a lot of the teams now are just waiting for the service time shit to go away, which honestly is hilarious to me because I think that is what they're doing. But like for all the amazing and the AL rookies, what are we doing? Because Carter's been bad, Langford's been bad, Holiday looks terrible, Cowser's, I think, the American League of the Year rookie front runner. Like and he's only had a good week and a half. Like there's so many good chances if you have an amazing rookie in the minors like those guys, bring him up. Let him try to get one of those first 2 spots.
Cade Smith, baby, he's going for Rookie of the Year.
Is Cade Smith a rookie?
He's a rookie.
Dude, you and me in the Cade Smith fan club, Zach. I love that.
Cade Smith, Rookie of the Year.
Big Cade Smith guys. I was like
whatever,
Yankee Cade Smith or Indians or Guardians Cade Smith. And you were like Guardians one.
For anyone wondering, he is the 5th reliever for the Guardians, and he's been striking a bunch of people out. So if you want
he's off to a great start though. But it was one of those days where the waivers didn't process on time. Zach was like, "Can you help me get him?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And Zach was like, "Add Cade Smith for me." And I looked up the guy's name. I'd never heard of him. Shows you how bad I'm at fantasy baseball. And there's at least 2. There might be a third one who just had no stats ever. So I was like, all right, it's not the third one, but which of the other ones is it?
Cleveland one.
Yeah.
Which, if you want to be safe and you don't have a pitcher to start, I mean, there's like 3 other people just on the waivers for relievers who have like no earned runs and like 12 outs that are Cleveland relievers every time. Like
Cleveland's a factor that
like clockwork, man.
I think one other one too, not a reliever, but I think you already shouted him out once. I'll give you a second flowers here, Eric, from me. I think Paul Blackburn's pretty solid. I don't know why he was put back out there after a couple of really good starts, but for only $50, whatever it was in the last couple of days, I think that was brilliant.
Yeah, it's good. He'll be startable. Yeah, I think most starts. He's been really good.
Yeah, and he might get traded somewhere good. He's on Oakland. I mean, if he goes somewhere with a good team in June or July, you love that. But even if he doesn't, Oakland's a good pace to pitch.
I could see him having like a Jordan Montgomery second half on a good team.
Yeah.
Like how he was, when he was with the Rangers and was kind of just like the guy. They put him out there 6 innings, win.
Yeah. I think Raymond it was like a week ago now, more than that even, towards the other end. But Jose Miranda, post-type prospect, playing every day for the Twins. I've liked him before. I think it's low risk, maybe some reward there. Raymond knows AL guys pretty well, given the way he's played fantasy the last few years. And we've already talked some about Ryan O'Hearn. I don't know if that's before we started recording it or not, but Kyle, I've had O'Hearn at certain points talking about I traded for him.
Kyle
I think it's kind of Kyle has O'Hearn right now. I think it's infuriating that yesterday, I know it won't be yesterday when this gets released, but like yesterday they pinch hit him for him in like the 6th inning against the Twins for a lefty, just because he's playing so fucking well. So it kind of shows probably he won't play against lefties no matter what. But even so, he's just been so good for like a year and a half now.
Yeah.
And he is legitimately 100th percentile in most of the stats, or like 98th percentile. If you look at Savant, his Savant page is gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah, there's basically nothing he could do better right now.
Yeah.
And he's not getting the chance to even show he could do it against lefties, which is just the part that is crazy to me.
Yeah.
They brought in Austin Hayes, so Austin Hayes could do another ground out to third or short.
That was the one. Because
Austin Hayes don't ground out to third base or shortcastle challenges. He never wins unless he strikes out.
Yeah, dude.
I do like just as an Orioles fans, I do like the Mountcastle O'Hearn match at first, because as good as O'Hearn is against righties, that's how good Mountcastle is against lefties. So it's like whoever your starter is, we literally have like, Yordan Alvarez in the middle of our lineup against your starter.
The composite is him, yeah.
Like, truly, like the composite is like Judge Soto in the middle, just between Ryan, just like these doofy 2 guys of
these
Ryan
big Ryans.
Yeah, Big Ryan.
The
Big Ryan.
The big rise.
Oh my god.
All these big rise we have, dude. It's also just hilarious because, like, I saw someone tweet this yesterday and just laughed my ass off at it. How Heston Kjerstad's down there in AAA, or like a voodoo doll of Ryan O'Hearn, but whatever he's doing it wrong. He's making him better. He's trying to like get his ass out of the lineup so he can come up here, and it just is not working. Ryan O'Hearn's unstoppable.
I mean, I was wrong. I was like, man, we got everything out of O'Hearn. Time to bring up Kjerstad or someone. Like, you don't got to bring O'Hearn back or whatever,
I thought they were probably going to keep him, but I wouldn't have been shocked if they non-tendered him. It wouldn't have been like a huge surprise.
Yeah, no, we might have been able to pass him through waivers. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah, nope, he's a monster.
My last one that I noted before, I wanted to note, it's not my pickup one, but just laughing at, we've all had at different points Victor Scott, and I don't know if anybody has him right now. Rip Victor Scott. But give you some props here, Mark, because I think we've been a little bit mean to you. And this is Miz, not Mark Sparky. But Gavin Sheets is probably the best White Sox hitter.
Yeah, right now.
And he's like he's legitimately playing well too. So I don't think he's anything super special, but man, he's playing good right now, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah, when he's one of those guys. I feel like when he's on, he's on. Like
Yeah,
like he's been. I've definitely had Gavin Sheets multiple times throughout different years. So
me too. I've streamed him before as well.
yeah, nice pickup.
And actually, I'll look in real time. Does anybody have Victor Scott right now, or is he a free agent right now?
I think he's free agent.
It looks to
No,
me
he's
like
he's Charlie's.
Charlie's
So never mind,
team.
Charlie has him. Victor Scott's your early leader for clubhouse pass round of the year, actually, because he started on March 9th, race sync, then dropped claimed by Stan, dropped a day later by Stan, claimed by me. I held him for a week, so I gave him a little bit of a long-term relationship. Cut him, and then Charlie the next day picked him up. Charlie's had him for 2 days. So
Wow.
we'll see where he goes next.
So now that we're like a month into the season, I mean, what do you guys think? Any surprises? I feel like, Jack is doing pretty well. I think a lot of us had Jack pretty low in the rankings. I know he has more, pitching starts than a lot of us. I think a lot of us are under pace. And I think he's maybe 20 games over pace, the 225. But I don't know. Do you guys have any high level thoughts?
It's a good question. And we should each answer it. I'm just realizing I'm a terrible host first time back for a while, because I've been asking everybody as they've come on sort of how they thought like their draft and slash auction went, their keeper decisions went, how they feel they are set up for the season. And I didn't really give you that, Zach. So if you want to answer Kyle's question, sort of include some higher level over the last couple months, because Kyle's right, we're like 3 weeks in now, and your team's playing great. You're right now a half point behind second place. And I think we both ranked you as like a top either 5 or 6 team coming in. I don't remember where I specifically had you. But how do you feel? Where do you think you are?
So I would say, and I just want to answer that one real quick. I think maybe Jack's doing the right thing because pitching is dominating hitting in the MLB right now. So for him to be over starts, like we might be trying to catch up to his starts later when the environment's different. So
Yeah.
I think he might be playing that right. Even if he's 20 over, like you don't want streaming starts in July and August. Like you don't want that at all. So
I think as long as you know you are, it could be good. I think last year too many teams that weren't aware of it.
But like if you start ahead now and then slow it down later and maybe only have like 3 elite pitchers and drop everyone else for relievers.
Yeah, you can cut the streamers and just pick up relievers.
Or start trading your pitchers. I think it's a pretty good strategy. My team, I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest. There's some people who I'd like to do better, obviously. I made like a pretty big trade for Jordan Walker because I really like him. Traded away O'Neal Cruz because I like him, but Walker's cheaper and I think he's just as good.
I think Walker's awesome.
He's been bad, but I think I check on O'Neal Cruz. Sorry, Roman. I don't want him to be bad. I want him to be good. But if Walker's bad, I want him to be bad. If Walker's good, I hope O'Neal Cruz is great to be.
You want O'Neal Cruz to be 1% worse than Walker, but still really good.
He can even be even. It's fine with me. He can be better. He can be a little. I had a fit, but I can't have him being great while Walker is maybe going to get sent down. But yeah, I don't know. The rest of the team's good. I felt pretty confident in Ellie De La Cruz. I felt like that was the question, like, oh, is he going to be good? But I was like, I don't see a world where he's not good in fantasy baseball, even if he's bad in real life. Like, he just does everything that's good for fantasy. He could hit, in real life, I don't think he's good as like Bobby Witt or Gunnar Henderson or something like that. But like in fantasy baseball, he's the same level as those guys. Well, not Bobby Witt. I think he's
like in the top 3 or 4 players in
baseball. I think he might be a top 3 player in the league.
Yeah.
But
I felt like you had a really good setup, Zach, and the power was one of your only opportunities. And I've said it in multiple pods. I think you did probably the best job consciously of anybody at targeting one area in your trades leading up to the auction and the auction. You got all the power, guys, dude. You did. You got all the power.
Yeah. Glaber's been bad, but I was happy I wanted to get Glaber in the draft. Inside the mind, I actually logged in the draft late because I got the time wrong, and I missed when Glaber went.
That's all right. He gets traded a lot. You can trade for him.
Yeah, so I traded for him. But
you already traded for him, see?
Yeah, already done. Made it happen quick. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with my team, to be honest. There's some guys who you want to be doing better, but they're kind of peripherals. I feel like the people who I'm expecting to do well are doing well. Yeah, even though like letdowns is like, I think George Kirby's had the 2 worst starts of his career already this year. But I don't know.
Yeah, the one with the walks was crazy.
I was watching the game. I watched both games and I was like, I guess I'm not allowed to watch George Kirby games anymore.
Can't have nice things.
Like, it wasn't even like if it was like this is a really good pitcher. I was like, dude, this would be a bad game if this is a Cole Irvin. Like, this is bad.
Freddie Peralta's been shoving though.
Yeah, I mean, I think I already viewed him as my number one over Kirby even for this year, to be honest. I think Freddie Peralta I would have picked as Cy Young if I had to like bet money.
Wow.
At the end of the year, he was the best pitcher in baseball for the last like 2-3 months. So. And he has the strikeouts. So.
He was 1A, 1B with Pavetta, who I had at certain points last year and think is excellent too. It sucks Pavetta got hurt. I definitely empathize a lot with pitching injuries, and Pavetta was just play since I think July of last year. He's been like the third best pitcher in baseball.
Yeah. So, yeah, pretty happy with it. I don't know what'll come of it. I'm looking at everyone else's teams. I still kind of feel like I'm missing maybe one or two like kind of superstars that like Kyle has or you have or like who else is up there?
I don't know, man. But the reason I brought this up, like, look how damn close all the counting stats are. I mean, I know we're early on, but especially
look at my team ERA, dude. What the fuck? My ERA is like 5. That's so. If I told you my pitching when the year started, I hate pitching so much.
Mine's 2.47. That's what I like to see.
But I mean, look at that.
Yeah, it's all like right next to each other.
You're right.
Also check out like the games played too, and like how closely that resembles.
It's interesting how that just always correlates exactly with who's good and who's not. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, masterful job so far, Kyle. You're playing really good roto.
Thanks.
Yeah. I did learn a lesson last year. I feel like for many years in this league, I've used my bench spots on pitchers. And I learned from looking at the teams who won last year that you got to use your bench spots on hitters, not pitchers. And you got to keep moving those pitcher ones. Because yeah, you just need all the stats at the end. That's roto, right? Like you're going to fall behind even if you're not like, I need those 2 when someone on my team sits, right? Like I can't take a 0 in the lineup because Brandon Drury sat down.
You've definitely got to accumulate. Sort by at bats, Kyle.
You could do the math on it, but guys, I actually think that the optimal bench is 2 of either pitching or hitting and then 1 of the other. I think if you go 3, you're actually going to have fewer games played.
Yeah, 2 and 1 I feel like is usually where I end up. I've been like 2 hitter, 1 pitcher. I don't think I've gone 2 pitcher this year, but that's only because I've been bad in the past that I've gone 3 pitchers almost all the time. Like every other year, I'm usually rotating pitchers in and out. But
I'm pretty universally 2 and 1 also. I think sometimes when there's a really hot prospect or something, I'm from stashing an injured player, I have to be 3 now. But I agree with you guys.
Yeah,
it just gives you more flexibility.
Like today is a good example, Nick, where there's only a few teams playing, so it doesn't even matter. You can just stream, and you're just trying to get the games. But when it's normal and all the teams are playing, I think you want to be 2 and 1, and it doesn't actually matter which side, in my opinion. You just want to maximize the games played. But yeah,
I think that's really smart. I think what you're saying is really smart too, Kyle, not even just for that, but you're making a brilliant point about the fact that you almost don't even care day to day. When you zoom out, like you want to get 3 starts today. If it's 1 reliever who comes in or 1 streaming starter and 2 hitters, if it's 2 streaming starters and 1 hitter.
Yep.
Great point.
And then I just sorted on total at bats.
Good job, Mark.
Surely. It's impressive.
Dude, Mark has like
pay off
70% more at bats than Dom. And like 50% more than Raymond.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot more than people who are going for it, right? Like everyone's going for it. I mean, I think Raymond, we could say you're not going for it outside your trades. But everyone other than Raymond, you know, like
Raymond thinks he is, I think, dude. But I hear you, yeah.
But yeah, so it's fun. I'm glad because I feel like I maybe picked up on this last year and I was still doing pretty all right just with like teams, but now you got to lean all the way into the roto. You got to get all those starts, you got to get all those hits.
Yeah, like you said, Zach, having like some of the really good players is obviously super important. You can't do it without that. But at the top, like Kyle, Griffin, you, Mark, I think still hopefully me until more injuries happen. Like there are some teams with really good players, and you have to be streaming too. Everybody's got good players at the top.
And then you can keep guys like I was pretty hyped on Jack Swinski. He's been pretty bad, and he hasn't been playing as much as I thought he would. Yeah. But I still believe in him, and because I just like keep a 2-hitter bench, I haven't had to drop him. You know,
you can be flexible with him,
right? Like if I didn't have it, if I was still doing the all pitchers thing, like I would have had to drop him already, even though I spent $10 on him. I mean, he's only been playing like three games a week, 4 games a week. So
It's kind of silly to do since we're 3.5 weeks into the season now, power ranking. So I'm not going to ask you to do that, Zach. But instead, I think just a fun exercise would be, I think adding in Roman, me and Kyle both had like the same top 6, which was the same top 5 teams now in different orders, minus Mark before he made some of his trades, and with Roman up there too. I think right now, just thinking out loud, I would say the teams in 1 through 5 right now in some order are my probably top 5, or at least close to it. All I'm trying to get to is with both of you, but Zach, just to show our guest, is there anybody you think in the bottom half is definitely shooting up really soon, or anybody at the top you think is shooting down really soon?
I mean, I spend so much time on fantasy baseball, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't look at everyone's teams all that often.
That's fine. You don't have to have an answer to it. Just thought it'd be a fun thing if you want to call a shot.
I remember liking Roman's team at the beginning of the year, so I don't know if anything's changed that his team. I would think any differently of it.
Me and Kyle liked him, and Charlie explained to us why we were wrong. So good job, Charlie.
Yeah, and Charlie clearly was closer than we were. So
yeah, and Charlie's closer on Charlie than we were too, because Charlie's up there at 7.
yeah.
Because I mean, I guess more just because I mean I've just been super gassed up Orioles fan over everything, even over.
Oh, it's so much fun right now.
So it's like I know more about the like actual MLB than I do about our league almost. So it's more, I guess, like people with like teams that are starting really slow, like anyone with like the big Cardinals on their team, anyone with like the Tigers who are winning but their offense sucks.
Yeah.
Like some of those teams, Houston, honestly, if you got the big Houston guys, I don't know which teams those guys are on. Like I would say I mean, there's big superstars out there.
Bregman's been really disappointing so far, for example. You're right.
Yeah, so like there's big superstars out there who aren't doing a lot right now. So I mean, that could change things if people, have 2 Cardinals and an Astro and a Tiger on their team, then like you could be looking really good in a month when those teams go on a winning streak.
Even good players, like Kyle was saying about Judge, you're a bit frustrated. I mean, Judge is obviously incredible. He's going to smash the rest of the year, I imagine. But like Acuna had no home runs till I think yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even the Braves, honestly, for the Braves haven't been.
Besides Marcell Ozuna, they've all been kind of underwhelming. I agree.
Marcell Ozuna hitting 50 home runs is cursed. Like,
yeah, what the fuck is going on with Marcell Ozuna, dude?
Marcell Ozuna, he just needs to get arrested like more times, and then he can like.
That's where his power comes from. We have to stop arresting him.
Yeah, his
power from the Braves.
Yes, like that.
He's such a scumbag.
Exactly. That guy is like. I thought he was about to be out of the league.
My favorite.
He was going to be out of the league after those. Like,
you're right. If he wasn't still playing really well, he would have been. If he was not playing super well, he would have been.
Yeah.
My favorite. I was going to ask this as like a fun trivia question at the end. We're talking about Ozuna, so I won't do it as a trivia question because it's him. But he is the only player I think ever in the Savant era where from 2015 until now, so you have to have played 10 years, including a little bit of 2024. His sprint speed has gone down every single year. He was like 90th percentile sprint speed in 15. He's like second percentile now. But it's not like down, up, down, like slowly like steps. It's literally every year it's gotten slightly worse till now it's 2. He's in the second percentile.
I mean, he's just like he's big boy now. I mean, him and Yelich when they were on the Marlins were like 25 speed guys.
Dude, that's so true. Like, yeah, young Yelich was. Yelich is hurt right now. He was doing so well too. He was doing the Mike Trout. Yelich and Trout were both doing, and hopefully Trout doesn't fall into the Yelich injury thing because
honestly, it's impressive. Yelich has kept the speed up. Like, after so many injuries to like still be like athletic enough to be like stealing bases like he does is like.
And to your lower back too. I'm surprised they let him run.
It's very. I don't know. I feel like that never happens where the guy gets a bunch of injuries. They're an MVP level player, and then they're like, "Nah, I'm still gonna steal 30 bags."
That's why I'm so concerned with the Trout thing we talked about like an hour ago. I do think Trout, as soon as he has one little ding, is going to stop running, which I don't blame him for. I would too, probably.
I think you're right, but you already got 5 more than we all expected. So
yeah, dude. To be honest, I thought he would still like 3 when the year started. But all right, so you think Roman's probably your big guy down there? I like that take. Kyle, do you think?
For me, it is, but like I think one thing is Roman really he's not playing as many players. If you look at games played, innings pitched like is down. I think a good chunk compared to a lot of these top teams. So it's like I don't get it because I think he has a lot of good players. I mean, a lot of his players are also mashing.
Yeah, dude, Cowser, that trade with Cowser from Griff. Great job, Roman.
Yeah,
did not think a lot of that one at the time, but
he was a salary dump at the time.
Yeah, I guess it's just like looking at the team,
This team's good, I think.
his team is good, but it's just like Zach Littell's good, but I don't think you need to keep him on your roster when he's not starting. Same with Martin Perez. You know, like they've been good, and I think they
You
are
got
good.
Hunter Brown bad.
Yeah, I mean there are just some that are just gonna be bad, but it's like those guys where it's like I wanted to like my Ranger Suarez trade. Honestly, even if I honestly sent like 7 trades to people. I don't think I sent you guys trades, but half the league got a Suarez trade request from me that night. But
well, the way Kyle knows about what Jack wants in outfield is, we don't want starters.
So
if
I'm just speculating here, but like I think, and you're hinting on this, Zach, but I think Roman has too many starting pitchers and he's benching them through starts, which it's just a lost opportunity because you're just losing out on whatever stats you could get elsewhere. So I think maybe that's one of the problems on his team. Obviously, like everyone, you have a couple players who just they're not necessarily doing exactly what you think. I mean, Harper does have 4 homers, but yeah, I mean, he's going to be better than that even.
You're making a good point though. He's probably a good trade partner for somebody who wants a starter because he's got a lot of guys who I think are probably a little bit too good to cut. Like I said, I think Butto's an excellent pickup. Imanaga's been excellent, dude. Abbott's been
Imanaga's awesome.
Pretty
I really
fantastic.
wanted him, and I just
Crochet's awesome.
Yeah, Crochet was great. Did he draft him or pick him up?
He picked up Crochet after the first start, and I remember wanting him, and I think he bid like 5% of his fab. Good job, Roman. I said at the time, but I love that pickup. I think Crochet's legit.
Yeah, and it's like not hating on your team, Roman. I just think that's we just looked at half of the league has like less games played than the like top half of the league, right? It's like you can get right back in the mix really easy just with a bunch of games played.
Yeah,
like
and it's only been 3 weeks.
I was gonna cut Ranger if I didn't trade him, I would have cut him. Which like sucks because I think he is good, but it just is, if you're not like a top 50 pitcher, I'm gonna cut you after your start.
Can you show the whip, Kyle? If my ERA is 5, what is my whip?
Oh, I guess I have to go to pitching for that, huh? Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Roman, maybe we should trade.
Yeah, I mean, see, I'm saying all that, and then we got people who just.
Dude, I am the perfect example. Don't ever. I came into the auction with, dude, I'm keeping Steele, I'm keeping Strider, I'm keeping Cole. My pitching's gonna be so good. Nah.
Yeah. Sorry, Nick.
It happens. I mean, everybody's got injuries. I'm not saying it's like feel bad. Everybody has injuries.
Woodruff. I was excited for Peralta, Woodruff, Kirby.
Yeah.
Well, it happens to everyone.
It happens to all of us. I'm not saying to elicit sympathy. Just it's so crazy how quickly, even when you think you set yourself up good, that you didn't.
Felt a little sympathy when it with the second one. When it with the Strider one, I was like, oh man.
Yeah,
Strider's so much worse because Strider's like my best player, one of them.
I mean, Strider's like top 2 player, and I thought you had the top 2 players in fantasy baseball. So,
but then Acuna was like, no home runs, I'm good on that. And Strider's like, no playing, I'm good on that.
Chill out.
Well, they were also obnoxious with Strider's announcement. They're like, he had surgery. It's like, what?
They gassed at me for like a week and a half waiting. I assumed that's probably what was happening.
Yeah,
but they announced after he had the surgery.
Yeah, but when they don't give you an update for like a week, it's like, all right, what could this possibly mean? They're not saying he's going to take 60 days off or he's going to start a throwing program. They're like, we'll tell you when it's done.
I think I just wanted to pull this up because I think we were being a little mean to Dom, but just talking about bad luck.
Oh, Robert's a terrible break.
Yeah, Robert goes down. Of course, Lowe gets hurt.
Ozzy Albies, yeah.
Hayes is hurt, and then Albies breaks his toe. He's like, I think I'm fine. Nope, your toe's fractured.
He played 2 more at bats. He got a hit in one of them, yeah. Robert and Albies is arguably the 2 biggest hitting losses you could say anybody's had.
Like the only good luck he's had is Javier. Like that's the only good luck. I mean, I guess like
his stats suck, but Gausman dodged a bullet. When Gausman's velo was down, I was worried about him. He's clearly not hurt, and he looked good last time out.
Yeah, his velo was up a little bit last.
It's back to where it was.
Yeah.
I think he's fine.
He still had to pay for Javier, He still paid $25. He was just smart. He was just on that, which is a good draft. Good pickup for that. But
he had one of the worst starts of all time,
Yeah.
Bailey Ober's good though. Look at it. It's already down under 70 ERA. He'll be like 4.5 probably by the start of May.
No, you know I love the Ober. I'm
big Ober guy.
I'm just saying, like in terms of the luck he had, I'm just
you're right.
I was bidding against him for Musgrove. I wanted Musgrove, and I was bidding against him.
Musgrove's so consistent.
I know.
Like I was trying to get Musgrove, and lucky I didn't.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Even Bednar, what the hell? Like Bednar was like one of the best.
I almost kept Bednar.
Yeah. Like what the heck? Yeah, I think this just happened like the past day or so. And
No, it's been bad all year.
Fairbanks,
The last
bad all
two
year.
years has been so good. But yeah, his
Fairbanks
velocity
is another
been
one.
terrible.
The Orioles blew him up twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fairbanks was so funny in his interview after the game. He was like, just a general kind of suck. I'm gonna feel bad for like 16 more minutes and just move on.
I clipped that. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but I wanted to put that in the intro. Yeah, I thought it was
Describe that with all the injuries we've all
the
had.
funniest interview.
We're
yeah.
out of here in a minute. Why don't I say another one? We can do Zach's activity.
Perfect.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
All right.
See you guys in a second.
See you on the other side.
Heard it here first. Bitcoin is going to zero. Zero. When it comes out, zero.
I don't think I give a shit about my legacy. That's not what matters. I think what matters is what impact I have on the world in the end.
Cryptocurrency exchange FTX is now filing for bankruptcy. Its founder has resigned too.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay, what's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best. Okay. But take all your money, buy Bitcoin, then take all your time, figure out how to borrow more money to buy more Bitcoin, then take all your time and figure out what you can sell to buy Bitcoin. And if you absolutely love the thing that you don't want to sell it, go mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with it. And if you've got a business that you love because your family works for the business that's in your family for 37 years and you can't bear to sell it, mortgage it, finance it, and convert the proceeds into the hardest money on earth, which is Bitcoin.
You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up.
Cool. Welcome back. All right, well, I'll turn it over to you, Zach, then. Why don't you lead us? Zach has an activity for us.
Yeah, a little fun little activity for you guys, you know? See who knows their ballparks.
This is definitely a Kyle thing, I feel like.
I will say, how many ballparks, where have you guys been? Like, what parks have you been to, like, in person? Have you been, like...
More than 5 or 6, probably like around 8 or 9. Let's see. I've been to Camden, PNC, Nationals Park, Phillies, Angels, Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks, nice.
I've only been
Yankees,
to Camden Yards and Nationals.
Camden National. Yeah, I've done like
I think
the
that's it for me, though.
Yeah, San Diego, Anaheim. I've never been to PNC.
Oh, I just went to a Dodgers game. I'm so stupid. I went to a Dodgers game literally last weekend.
Oh, you were just in LA. I didn't even see it. But
yeah, I was there for like a day with my girlfriend.
Yeah, I figured. I was out of town for work anyway. It's fine. But I know.
LA was cool.
I would have messaged you, but I was not in LA. And I also was like, he's got commitments, you know?
It was my shift. I was taking
LA.
LA
Don't
for
love
the
me
night.
like that.
I do love you. I'm excited to see you soon, hopefully.
But yeah. What'd you think of Dodger Stadium? People shit on it, but I like it.
I thought it was really solid. It was super unique and interesting. I did not believe Kate when she was explaining to me how it's like on a hill miles away from everything else. There's nothing around it. There's no bars. There's no like restaurants or things to do around it. There's a gigantic parking lot on like the top of a hill.
Yep. And then you like look out over the mountains.
I say this just to laugh at my expense. I texted Kyle about it while it was happening. I have no Dodgers this year other than Ryan Yarbrough and Ryan Brazier. So going into the series, I was like, or the game, I was like, maybe my guys will pitch, Kate. And she was like, she's sort of like, Kyle was saying, Bridget interested a little bit in this.
Yeah,
she was like, oh, there's Brazier. That's your guy. And he gave up 3 runs. And I was like, sick. I spite dropped him.
You're
and then
like,
Yarbrough came
I wish
in.
he didn't pitch.
I was like, I wish he just didn't come anywhere near the game. Actually, he gave up 2, and I was like, well, if he gets like 1 more out, at least he'll get like a hold. He gave another run. I was like, fuck you.
Oh my God.
No hold either. You piece of shit. She was like, so we don't like Brazier anymore? And then Yarbrough came in the 10th, and I was like, why are they using him now? This isn't even what he's for. Like, what are we doing? And he pitched 1 inning, didn't get the win. They lost the game in extras.
Incredible.
She was like, you get really mad about this fantasy baseball sports thing. Yeah, and they didn't pitch for like 5 days.
Yeah, of course.
But otherwise, it was a really good experience. I love the stadium.
Mostly
joking aside, from like a real baseball, Ohtani was great. He had like a homer and 2 doubles. Betts homered. Bogarts and Machado both homered. It was against the Padres.
Superstars.
Dude, literally everybody. Muncy had a home run. Everybody who was any good for either team had a good game.
Yeah, that was
That's cool.
a firepower game for sure.
Yeah. Yamamoto pitched pretty well. Michael King was okay.
Yeah.
But they both had at certain points looked well. No, I think King's a lot of runs. Weren't like 3 of his runs unearned, Kyle? Actually wasn't that bad for fantasy, I don't think.
You're right. Yeah.
Because Yamamoto, I think, gave up like 2 through 5 or 3 through 5. King gave up like 6 or 7 runs, but I think like only half were earned.
Yep.
Love some unearned run action.
That's the best.
You like see the like third baseman just like boot one with the bases loaded, and you're like, well, I actually, and it's like not the Orioles, like it's fantasy baseball. I'm like, I actually don't really care what happens.
Yeah, it's way less concerning.
It'll make me feel bad to see him let up a grand slam, but it's not going to actually hurt me for the one run that goes in on that grand slam, that earned run.
Exactly. And if it's with 2 outs, it's so funny. That's the way the rule is, where you don't even get credited against the run against you.
Yeah. I'm like, thumbs up.
I'll take it,
not gonna worry
whatever.
about this. But yeah, set the scene, because I told Kyle before we started recording, I feel like I've been listening to a bunch of fantasy baseball podcasts, and they keep like, they'll just like say some stuff sometimes, you know, I get it. We're on air. You got to fill the air. But like,
We're doing it right now.
They're like, oh, they're in this park. Like, that's a good hitter's park. They're in this park. And I'm listening and I'm like, what are they? No way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some of the things that they're saying, I'm just like, is it? Because, you know, parks change every year. Everyone who goes to Camden Yards knows that thing's different. I know Toronto changes. All the parks change all the time. Even Dodger Stadium, like when they build stuff, it's different, you know, like they build different things around the stadium, and that's the, you know, third oldest in the whole thing, or second oldest. But so I did a little deep dive on StatCast park factors just to like reset myself of what and there's some new stadiums, you know, what are the like hitter parks and the non-hitter parks. And there were some surprises. So I won't give you, I got a bunch of lists that I'll go through for everybody, so we're all up to date on it. But I just want to hear your guys' guesses for, I mean, you'll be able to get the first few, but the top 5 most hitter-friendly parks in baseball, if you can guess them, by park factors. I have a bunch of other factors, but they're like park factor, everything combined. What do you think and you can go back and forth. I'll start with, because the first couple are, I think you'll get.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, are we doing, is it just overall runs scored? Because I think some are different for runs scored versus power, right?
Yeah, so this is overall, pretty much goes to runs scored.
Okay, so I'm trying to think in terms of...
They have park factor and runs scored, but they're pretty much the same. Like when you like sort it by those.
I just mean more by like home runs. I know some parks are
no,
better.
It's not. Not by home runs. Not by home runs. I have that as a different category later, but this is just straight offense is better here.
So
we just take turns, Kyle. Then alternate who goes.
Yeah, we can take turns. I can also say I kind of spoiled one thing before when we were talking about it. Zach, a big ballpark that I was wrong about, that I assumed was like number 2, and you said it's like middle of the pack. Should I say that one?
Oh,
no,
that's
fine.
You're fine. No,
just wait.
Okay. It's yeah. I'll just
let me say, because I don't even know. I'll probably say it if it's
not the one that you said is not middle of the pack. It is top 5. It's just not as high as you think it is. It is not.
Gotcha. I thought it was literally number 2. Okay, so we'll just.
It is still top 5. It's just not number.
All right. Well, I'll throw that one out there then.
I'll let you go first, because
we're talking about Cincinnati. I thought Cincinnati was number 2, but Zach corrected me and said no, not quite.
Number 3.
Okay.
But the first 2 are much above the rest. Like Cincinnati is the 3rd best hitters park, but it's closer down than the top 2 are from everyone else. So what's your guess, Nick, for one of the top 5?
I thought I should just take the low hanging fruit and take Colorado.
Colorado, number 1.
Okay.
Always has been, always will be.
Yeah.
And then so you got 3 more to guess. Kyle?
Okay. I'll guess another one that we didn't talk about. I'll guess Yankees, Bronx.
No, that is not. That is number 23.
Wow.
So,
yeah, so just totally
close
wrong.
To the bottom.
So people talk about, that's kind of in the category, Zach, where I just hear people talking about it. Yeah, Yankees.
Yeah.
So, because that's short right field. It's not that, it's kind of big other parts of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is one that I'll get to later. It's one that's good for power and really limits hits, though. Is Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got Colorado and Cincinnati, and our first wrong one. Well done.
Let's say.
What you got, Nick?
I heard them say this when they were in town. Let's see if it's real. The Royals.
The Royals are number 3. Actually, yeah, the Reds are 4. The Royals are number 3.
And this is crazy to me. Okay, I'm glad it's real then, because I remember someone said that on the Orioles telecast, and I was like, "Is that fucking real?"
I've always thought of Kansas City. This is the one that
Kaufman
really
feels huge to me.
It made me deep dive. That I was like, I've always I've picked up streamers. If they're in Kansas City, I pick them up because I think
I thought it was a
they're
good place to stream.
Park. It is the number 3 park factor hitters park in the MLB.
Wow, so it's 1 Colorado, 3 Kansas City, 4 Cincinnati, and we need
Yes.
2 and 5.
Yeah, need 2 and 5.
Okay.
To be fair, Cincinnati and Kansas City are even. So, but
I wouldn't have thought that though. I thought Kaufman was like 20th or 25th.
Right. Totally. Yeah. So 2 and 5. I personally think one is obvious. The other one I would have. I mean, it's like.
I know what 2 is, but I'm not going to guess it because we talked about it.
Oh,
but
yeah, we talked
I'll try to guess for 5.
Well, you should take 2 because I don't know 2. Just take 2.
Yeah.
You'd guess it, I think. But
Oh, I hope I get it now.
I think you'll get it.
Yeah, I
But
think you'll get it.
I don't know. What's the Cubs park called? I don't know.
Wrigley.
Wrigley. Is that number 5?
No, I think Wrigley's 12. It's kind of middle of the pack.
Okay.
This one, I mean, I'll let Nick try and guess 2. I'm just gonna give you 5 because it's so random. It's like, we could guess all.
Is it Philly?
No, it's not Philly. Philly's middle of the pack too.
Wow. Okay.
I know. Number 2 is Fenway. So Fenway.
Oh, that was
Coors
the next one. I thought
Fenway and Coors
okay.
are pretty far apart from everyone. Coors is 113, Fenway's 108, and then Cincinnati and Kansas City are 104.
So 13, 8, and 4% better than average. That's pretty
Yeah.
crazy. Wow.
And then number 5 is Texas, Globe Life Stadium.
Ah.
Rangers.
Wow, I thought it was low now. Okay,
I thought
yeah,
it
I
was a
wasn't gonna
pitcher's
get
park.
that. Wasn't gonna get that.
Yeah. So
It's like the
I'll
inside of a
run through-
Costco there.
I know. Like a lot of the new stadiums, you look at them and you assume they're pitchers parks because they just look like warehouses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Globe Life, pretty good place to hit.
Let's do the bottom 5.
All right, bottom 5. Now these ones we didn't talk about. So I will start. Who started last one? Or I'll give Kyle because he was at a disadvantage. He already knew 3. He didn't want to say. So I'll let now that you don't know anything.
This is a bad one, man. Like I feel like I cherry pick the ones that we talked about, like Colorado, and I don't know what good pitcher parks are. I guess I'll guess Seattle.
Seattle is by far the most.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Honestly,
that's the best one.
Yeah, the other
Okay.
4 are kind of close together. Seattle is like an outlier, not quite as big as Colorado, but it's like an outlier for how much of a pitcher's park it is.
Okay.
What about
All right.
America?
So
So Detroit.
Detroit, not in the bottom 5.
Wow. Okay.
Detroit is somewhere in the middle or something.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty low. It's right next to Yankee Stadium. They got the same park factor.
I think of those as being the same place. That makes sense.
I know that's
so funny.
completely different thoughts, but yeah, those end
America,
up-
I think of just being like this giant wasteland, especially with like the triples and right side. But I guess Yankees have some of that too.
Yeah. So we got Seattle.
All right, Kyle,
Yeah.
help me out here. I'm wrong.
Is Camden Yards actually really good for pitchers?
No, it's not. I mean,
That's
it's
probably
kind of middle of the
middle-ish.
pack. It's really good. It's really good for right pitchers to right. Well, it's bad for righty hitters, good for lefty
Good
hitters.
for lefties,
Ends,
yeah.
up, ends up being even.
What about Oakland?
Oakland is not in the bottom 5, which I was shocked by.
I thought that was like 1 or
I
2.
was
Okay.
shocked by that one.
Yeah.
It's close. It's right off the bottom 5. It's close down there.
Okay.
Oakland's even with Tampa Bay, which I gave away is not in the top.
Okay,
5.
good. Because I was going to guess them next. I'm glad you said that. I feel like the Trout's
Yeah.
one. I think it was being really pitchery.
Yeah, those are just outside the bottom 5.
I've got one. You got it, Kyle.
I'll say there's
I don't know. I was gonna guess
there's-
Pittsburgh randomly, but I don't know.
no 2 in California.
I was going to say San Fran.
San Fran.
Got to
is
be up
bad.
there. Yeah.
Not the second worst, it's the 4th worst. The other 3, I mean, I do think of as pitcher parks, I guess.
Angels.
Nope.
Damn. Who else in California? Padres?
Padres. San Diego is the second best pitcher's park in all.
Wow. I
Of
thought with those dimensions they made it a little bit better.
yeah,
Sorry,
I don't
Kyle.
know.
I went twice. Are you good?
Oh, you're good. The one thing I'll call out, like I think this is helpful in Savant. You can look at a hitter and how many home runs they would have hit in.
That's a
given
fun thing
park.
to do.
And I feel like that captures. I wouldn't say more, but it's a different test because the same hitter will hit, similar ways, right? Like if you're looking at a lefty, like a good example is like Camden Yards, right? And then they're going to hit more home runs, but it's like, I don't get a good grasp of the actual rankings. Instead, I'm like, oh, is this hitter better in this park or worse? Like
Right.
that's the
Yeah.
test. It's because it's relative to that given hitter. Yeah.
Well, I do
don't
that a
worry.
lot too, Kyle.
I
actually,
got all those lists too, Kyle. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
I do the same
Yeah,
thing,
I
but I
got
think
all
it's
those-
interesting though. I think it depends on the player.
That's
And
what I'm
the
trying
reason
to
I
say.
say it is like, yeah. Well, but I think what you're maybe I'm mischaracterizing here. There, are you saying that certain players just would do better in different parks?
Yeah.
Same play. I'm not necessarily sure I agree with that fully. I think you're
Really?
right generally. Yeah, think about like Ryan Mountcastle versus Alex Bregman. Mountcastle's better in like all the expected stats almost always, and he plays in a really tough left field right now. The last couple of years, Alex Bregman has talked about this a couple different times because he plays in Houston with that bandbox coming out in left field. He pulls all of his fly balls on the left field line. Altuve actually said this too.
Yeah.
And Mountcastle could try to go oppo a lot, for example. I think there is some skill to be characterized that I'm not necessarily putting in a perfect way of saying right now. But I think there's some skill for the really good hitters at like knowing where they are and trying to hit to the parts that are shallow. Does that make sense? Like a Yankee who's a righty going oppo a lot.
Okay, I didn't
to the
think
right
about
field
that.
corner.
So then when you apply what I'm suggesting, it's kind of irrelevant because it's like you're not taking.
No, I think you're right more than I am. I'm just saying I think that really, really good players do some of what I'm saying though.
Oh, because then you're saying, well, by simply like pretending like they're in a different park, that's kind of stupid because you're not capturing their intention of pulling the ball.
Like Mountcastle should know not to hit 390 to left. It won't go out.
Like these dudes are really good. You know what I mean? Like the really
you have
good
to be
players are
amazing
really
to do
good.
it. I think. Yeah,
that's a good point. Okay,
but for like the stars in fantasy, I think it does make like you talked to Adrian Gonzalez, who's a little bit before you started playing fantasy, but it was a really great lefty first baseman for the Padres and then Red Sox, Dodgers, and other teams. When he went to Fenway, he talked a lot about his approach those years was hitting off the left field monster. He would go opposite field off the monster all the time for doubles, in a way that he did not do when he was in San Diego or when he was in LA. So I think the really good hitters can control that more than I think the bad ones. Not bad ones. I'm just like I don't think Mountcastle's bad, but Mountcastle I think has talked about how obviously it sucks that that's out there for him now. It hurts him more than most. Mancini too before he left.
Totally, because I mean he's an above average MLB player, but like
exactly.
Altuve is a borderline Hall of Famer. Like there's different levels, right?
Altuve is a 30 home run guy now because he started hitting he would pull 350-foot fly balls down the line to the bandbox and left. Same with Bregman.
But I bet if Altuve played in Camden Yards, he'd probably have like
15, like 8 home runs.
He'd have 15 triples in a year or something now, though.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd be like, I'm just gonna hit to a different part of the park. It does change their stats though, for sure. Like good hitters play to the park, and it will change their stats.
Exactly. But it's hard because I feel like it's almost like why doesn't everybody bunt when the shift was on? I feel like only the really, really good players can really control where they're trying to hit it anyway.
Yeah.
And if you make them try something they can't do pretty well anyway, like you want Aaron Judge trying to hit it to right field instead of left in Camden Yards because you're making him do his plan B. You're making him do something he's not necessarily great at. You'd rather Aaron Judge bunt every time instead of trying to pull a ball 400 feet.
Yeah.
But the really good ones can do it. It's interesting.
And the pitcher knows what you're trying to do too. They know where the balls are. The pitcher's like, I'm not going to give you, in Houston, they're like, I'm not going to give you an inside pitch that you can just pull over give an inside.
We know what you want to do with
inside pitch that just pull it over the thing. Like you're going to have to, I'm pitching to the outside. You're going to have to go get that. But the other two were New York Mets and Cleveland.
I might have eventually gotten Cleveland. I don't know if I would have gotten the Mets. I didn't realize how bad the Mets pitching park was.
Yeah. So
that makes Alonso even more impressive to me. What the hell?
I know. Yeah, it makes a couple guys.
Nimmo too.
It makes Julio Rodriguez very impressive to me.
Great point.
That's true.
Because theirs is like so the numbers on those, and again, I went into more because I thought this was kind of like
it makes Luis Castillo and Kirby even more infuriating. Zach, what the hell?
No, dude, they have
all the advantage in the world, and they suck.
Yeah, I know. So like, the Mariners are 92, and then the next closest is 95.
Wow.
Like so, all the top five, the bottom five are all 95 or 96. Well, they're all 96 except San Diego's 95, and then Mariners are 92. So they are by far the worst.
Like almost a whole deviation away from the other ones.
Well,
so those are the big.
I was going to say the one bright spot. Your Mookie players have been pretty good though, Nick. Yeah, Logan Gilbert's been good, and
yeah, that trade actually. You're right. Mookie Betts is probably the MVP favorite right now.
But Altuve's been good.
Altuve's been almost as good, and Gilbert's been my only good pitcher.
Yeah, and Gilbert
is actually, I think, my only good pitcher.
Yeah, he's been beast.
So thank you for that. That's a rare win-win for us.
I think so.
Because Betts, I think, has been the best player. Is he one in fantasy right now? He probably is.
I think Ohtani might be.
Not really.
Like it.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
in a
1A,
points
1B
league,
then. Like they're up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, for sure.
Otani's not even pitching. He's number one. That's crazy.
He's gonna win the MVP in a year he didn't pitch.
That would be.
There's
freaking
no
wild.
way they're gonna give it to someone just so they can give it to him next year. But
It's got to be him or Betts
he
right now,
should
right?
be.
Who is the
Oh,
MVP
absolutely.
otherwise? Yeah.
I don't think it's even close. It's Marcell Ozuna in that now.
Oh my God, it would never go to Ozuna. They would make the DH argument even if he does hit 60 home runs.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. But the other ones I have, honestly, when I was just clicking through all the things for StatCast for the stadiums, like those were like it gives you an idea. But like what Kai was saying, they're not squares. You know what I mean? They're all built differently. So like,
I love that about baseball.
yeah, the 5 most homer friendly parks are completely different than those top 5 hitter parks that we had. Like Cincinnati is the most homer friendly park by like crazy amounts.
Coors isn't very homer friendly, right? It's just all the big gaps.
It's like number 8 or something, number 9.
Okay,
like,
so it is still pretty
But it's kind of,
homer-friendly.
but it's more
But not
friendly
by a
than
ton.
not. But yeah, it's more hit friendly. But like Kansas City is nowhere near there. Kansas City is not homer friendly.
It's made for the pass watch.
Yeah, top 5 homer friendly ones are Cincinnati. Number 2 is the Dodgers, who didn't even make it near. So Dodgers is just like bandbox.
Wouldn't have gotten that.
And the Rangers, which I was like, oh, it's a big one. Maybe it's a home run park. That's why they have the park factor. It's for home runs.
Is it because of the batter's eye, or what drives the park factor for power?
I mean, short walls mostly.
It must be short walls, maybe.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah, because it goes Cincinnati.
Where's Tampa
LA
for that?
Dodgers.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Um,
Because I've heard people
honestly,
complain about the Tampa batter's eye before.
let's see, we'll go to home runs, and you can pull it up on yours. I don't know if I can share my screen if so we can have something for people. Look.
I think you should be able to, since I made this one. Let me know if you can't, though.
Let me.
If you can't, you could drop the URL you're on, or I can just try to find it real quick on StatCast too.
Yeah, if you just search Park Factors MLB, it should be the first thing. I can't figure it out.
If you go to the triple dots, you should be able to share on the bottom more.
Oh my god, I totally don't know how to use this anymore. That's crazy.
You're fine.
That's kind of nice.
I'm searching it right now too. I'll race you, whichever gets there first.
So there's another thing going on right now, and I was not sure how I was going to weave it into the conversation. So just total non sequitur. But
Yeah,
All of our votes.
I think we have the biggest miss of the year potentially, where the Bitcoin halving is supposed to happen tomorrow, and it could have happened on 420.
Yeah, they sped it up. Those assholes.
Yeah. But we're recording here on the 18th.
The devs didn't want to do it on the 20th.
Oh man, they're cowards. They didn't want to be tied to it. They didn't think they could outshine it.
Those Bitcoin devs, man. All right, I found it, Zach. I'll share it. I got you.
Yeah, I don't think I can share. I can't find the button.
I got you.
Thanks, buddy. But so Kyle keeps you up to date on that one for everyone. I was unaware, but yeah, you can see
Current
the
events.
current events. Yeah, so here's
I
just
thought you were
like
talking about. We should talk for like 2 seconds before we get off this one about all the debate between Charlie and the rule changes we've tried to have.
Oh my god.
Oh, I tapped out of that. I honestly, I'm like,
I think what Charlie's proposing will pass and maybe even should pass in the offseason. Just it's hard to do things during the season.
yeah, it's just because like I can't quite tell what it is. Like anything during the season, I just no generally.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, I don't, even if it's like a good idea, like it's fine to pass. Like
But
me
guys,
reading and more messages coming in, I'm like, I don't know what I'm reading anymore. I don't.
I know I'm being a dickhead here, but I'm so tired of the whining. It's just cut a player, pick up a
I
player,
know.
and cut a player.
Well, and I'll make
Like,
the argument for you,
God.
Kyle. I'll make the argument for
God.
Kyle because I've done it too. But Kyle put it really eloquently in a conversation me and Griffin and him had about this, which is basically there have been times where realizing the things that like Charlie and Roman and some of the other people are saying are frustrating. They are frustrating.
Sure.
But at the same time, like I have known they are frustrating and intentionally cut guys a day in advance or the night before, or intentionally move things around to try to accommodate it. So
I mean,
it can be done.
I just cut a player today to not start Jameson Taillon. He was supposed to start today, and then they just decided he wasn't going to start today. But I was still like, well, I still want him more than this like reliever, so I'm just going to cut them. You know what I mean? And technically, he's still on the IL, but I know he's coming off now, so I'll just cut the guy and just put him there.
Yeah, and just as a quick call out, guys, if you want to cut a player to avoid these issues for tomorrow, right? You can cut a player who already played, and you get to keep those stats. So it's not like you lose the value. Maybe that's a valid concern that people have. That's I think reasonable. But just so you know, you can cut a player if he's already played. You know, you'll get those stats.
One of my
Camden
favorite
Yards is
things.
the second worst ballpark to draw a walk in.
I was looking at these.
I
was
love
like,
these.
Well, the strikeouts and walk ones, I was like, I don't believe this because just go by strikeouts, see what the top ones are. It's just the best pitching team.
It's funny that
Like-
Seattle is great for everything but strikeouts. You strike out.
Okay, but
Like-
we're only looking at 2024. I don't think we have a sample size yet.
No, it's 3-year rolling. 3-year rolling. No.
Oh yeah, it is 3-year rolling.
It's
Yeah.
3-year
Oh,
rolling.
okay. I'm
3-year
wrong.
rolling.
I'm wrong.
Get him, Zach.
I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
I've been on this. I was on this on the train all on my commute.
Best place to hit singles, cores. That makes sense. Doubles,
Yep.
cores.
Did you
that
see
makes
what's
sense.
number 2 for singles?
Hoffman. Is it because it's so deep that outfielders have to play really far back? I guess.
Yeah, I guess. But so the ones that I thought were the most interesting, if you go to homers, you can go to homer friendly.
200%. That's so
I know, that one was
crazy.
hilarious.
For triples.
Look at Yankees though. Look at Yankees. There's no triples in Yankee Stadium.
That's so
48.
true though. You take
So
this, like
this is
Kyle was
where I
saying with the
thought-
home runs, take the same guy and put him in Coors versus Yankee Stadium a year apart. He has like
Yeah.
30 triples or 12.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is what I found interesting because I think the like park factor doesn't honestly tell you that much other than it's good to hit in Colorado and Boston and bad to hit in Seattle. But like homer
Yeah.
suppression, if you go to home runs and then like double click it so you get the worst ones. Yeah, so it's like
Man, progressive.
you cannot hit home runs in Cleveland, San Francisco, Oakland.
Makes those
Pittsburgh,
Jose
and Detroit.
Ramirez and young Lindor seasons so impressive to me.
I mean, Jose Ramirez truly could have like a couple 35, 40 seasons.
And he
in.
intentionally took less money. He said it. Like, dude, do whatever's best for your family and your life. I'm not being mad at you for
Glad
saying
he's
that.
happy.
But it's
But, like-
interesting you chose to stay in Cleveland.
And not even like if he was in Colorado or anything. If he was just in an average park, he probably would have had a 40 season, honestly, on his career. I would
He'd
bet.
be like a late career Hall of Fame push kind of guy.
Yeah. But which,
Oracle, Oakland.
if people
Wow.
are smart, maybe he should still be, if they like look at it and see where he was playing.
You're right.
So
That's
the
crazy,
homer
though.
suppression ones. I thought Arizona being up there because it's tied up with like that's up there that I didn't really think of.
Well, Arizona used to be like the second most hitter friendly place for like a decade, and then I think it's 2020 or 2021. It's right around COVID. They put a humidor in, and it became like one of the most pitcher friendly places.
Yeah.
Because it's
So,
also
the next-
it's at like 2,000 or 3,000 feet elevation.
Right. The next one I had was hits, like most and least. So if you click on hits, like obviously Coors and Fenway. So I was
Marlins.
surprised.
Why are the Marlins fourth? What's going on in Miami?
Because that's what I was saying. Because it's giant. They got it, and Orioles, they have a bunch.
Yankees are third worst.
Yeah, I wonder if lighting is a big part of it.
Yeah, I don't know what it
Maybe.
is. Because Orioles, Cardinals. There's like a little glut there. The Braves, Orioles, Cardinals, all those. They like.
You know what? Some of it might be actually too incentivized. The way me and Kyle were talking about with like trying to change your swing. Like if I'm in Kaufman, I know it's gonna be hard to hit home runs. So maybe I have a more line drive driven swing. I'm more likely to get a hit out of it when I'm playing there. Versus when I'm in New York playing the Yankees, I'm trying to hit everything out to that short porch. I'm hitting
And
a lot of
they're
fly
teaching-
balls.
And the guys who play half their games there are taking batting practice there, and they know that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a smart
So
way of thinking about it.
The incentives are what
probably
drive
right.
this, I think.
So I originally thought about this because I was really going on streaming pitchers, and I was like, and honestly, it was Ranger Suarez in Cincinnati got me thinking about this because I was like, do I want to pitch him?
I love
But
it.
then I was, and honestly, Ranger Suarez is the kind of guy you want to pitch in Cincinnati, though. 'Cause he
Ground
doesn't-
balls.
Not a, yeah, he's a sinker ground ball guy, and there's not a lot of hits in Great American Field. Like if you have a homer suppression guy, like Cincinnati's honestly not even that scary. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. That does help.
Or a strikeout guy in Colorado isn't that terrifying.
Ubaldo Jimenez
because-
had that one like 4 or 5 month stretch where he was just unstoppable there. You're right.
I mean, everything in Coors is terrifying, but because it's not just like a super homer park, like if you have like a guy like a Blake Snell who like no one makes any contact with, like Colorado's way less scary. You know what I mean?
He's way better than like a Ranger Suarez type, even if their skill sets are
Like,
equal
I do
otherwise.
not want contact. I do not want Marcus Stroman in, Coors.
Coors really is such a unicorn too, because like your ball with the elevation just doesn't move the same. So even if you
Yeah.
have strikeout stuff, like it won't move the right way. I used
Yeah,
to
I
get
just
mad when my guys would go there because I feel like after a guy pitches there, he'll go somewhere else and get rocked, even if he's not bad. Just because then his stuff drops differently or drops more or less. It's just not what he's used to.
Yeah, you guys can see but like look how red it is for Boston and Colorado. Like those two are by far the hitter parks, and honestly, Kansas City is the next one, which is crazy.
It's so crazy.
I've never thought about it that way. And then you can click hits again. You can see the least hits, which is pretty much the bottom ones. But the interesting one here is Yankee Stadium sneaks
Yeah,
in
being
there in the
third
bottom
worst.
5.
I really think that must be people are trying to hit it out to right field because it's so short, and they're just more likely to hit fly balls that have a lower BABIP.
I'm guessing it's just small dimension-wise, like square footage of playing field must be small in Yankee Stadium. Is why there's less hits. I was surprised. Why are there less hits in Mariners, even though it's hard to hit a home run there? I was like, that place really sucks ass to hit it.
Mariners just sucks for everything. Like you said, go Julio. Good for Julio, man.
There's just no sunlight, so everyone gets depressed there, and then
it rains 9 months a year.
They just don't want to play.
Yeah, because these guys saw like
Julio and Luis Castillo don't want to play right now. Kirby too.
Yeah. So if you want to, Nick, now I'm going to have you change bat side from both to right-handed.
Oh, okay.
This is where you really got to hit update. Yeah.
This is cool. I've never looked at this.
Yeah. So I was having a blast.
Wait, where do you go for this? Just park factors?
It's just if you just Google.
I just searched Savant park factors, and it was the top option.
Yeah. If you just do MLB park factors, if anyone wants to go mess around, it's pretty fun. So now like this is exclusively righties. So I did righty homer friendly. So if you want to click on home runs.
Wow.
So this is
Dodgers.
good for drafting, honestly.
Mookie.
Yep.
Mookie. 40 home runs last year. That's why.
I mean, he's the best right-handed hit. Well, maybe Trout, but him and Trout are the best righties in baseball.
Yeah.
And him going from there, and look, Red Sox in the middle of the pack, Dodgers number 1. So
wow.
Texas, big right, Adolis Garcia in Texas, right-handed home run park.
Rip Ryan Mountcastle down at 76 here. 28.
And dude, look how bad the Pirates is. That's what blew my mind.
Wow.
Like, get right-handed Pirate power hitters off your team.
Dude, young McCutcheon did so well with some of those 25, 30 homer seasons.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, oh my gosh.
For a righty, you know what I mean?
That's really saying it's 32% worse than average.
Average.
Oh my god.
And it's like half as likely as LA.
Yeah. It's so bad. That was the worst one I've seen for any park factor on anything was the righty home run.
Is Ke'Bryan Hayes lefty or righty?
He's a righty.
Whoa.
Yeah. So he's just, I mean, it just is what it is. He's not going to hit home runs.
Oh my God. Lefties and
I know this one was hilarious. The Reds.
Joey Votto.
Reds is really funny. LA
Fraley.
Isn't Winker lefty?
Yeah. Yep. There's no one quite as bad as that 68 in PNC, but Chase Field. Wow. Yeah. Chase Field and Comerica.
Field and Tigers. I saw that, and I have, which, full transparency. I was already talking about a trade with Riley Green. But I also overreacted because I was doing this. I still like Riley Green, but like a lefty in Detroit, which we all know it's a hard park anyway, but specifically for lefties.
It's funny seeing Camden Yards top 10 here though, and bottom 3 on the other one.
Yep, exactly. We know how to build our team. Our entire team's lefties. Good job.
Here comes Gunner. Here comes Holiday. Everybody's either a switchy or a lefty.
So,
wow.
Yeah, and then
cool.
Right, like Angels, Phillies, those weren't anywhere near for the righties, but for lefties, those are power parks.
Yeah, I wish Trout was a lefty. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. How many home runs, right?
Maybe Trout could switch hit.
Probably.
Remember Rendon did that last year? Or was it 2 years ago? Remember Rendon hit a home run left-handed before he decided he hated baseball so much to not even play?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, this one was really funny because I was like, this is the biggest park factor is the lefty home runs in Cincinnati. It's like a pop fly as a home run there. But honestly, the Pittsburgh for righties was the one that was like, oh,
that's the biggest one.
Yeah.
No, great catch of that. That's the most significant one, I think.
So when Ke'Bryan Hayes has a late career breakout, once he goes to another team, he gets
playing on the Dodgers. He'll go to the Dodgers and hit right there.
If he goes to the Dodgers, he's going to hit 35 bombs.
So don't be surprised when that happens. That's the takeaway, huh?
Don't be bidding against me. Remember who told you this info?
Yeah, when he replaces Max Muncy.
Dude, if you want to go over to hits, you can see like for hits for righties. So like Coors, Kaufman, Fenway, but Orioles very good hits.
We're
for
good
righties,
for hitting.
Even if, yeah,
Mountcastle's average is higher these last couple of years. That makes sense.
Look how bad it is for the Mariners, dude. I'm like, that's like
poor Julio.
God.
Like, just for the fans, dude, they got to do something about that. Like no one wants that.
Yeah,
a little bit of sunshine. That's what I say.
I think it's because
it goes a long way.
I mean, I think they've talked about this on Rates and Barrels, but it's really wet at all these stadiums. Like San Francisco, San Diego, Seattle are all like, I mean, it's like when you're by the Pacific Ocean, it is like pretty humid air.
It's
like
hard.
San Diego and San Francisco are surrounded by water on like 3 sides of the stadium. Then yeah. So I looked at hits. I thought those were interesting. And then I had a list of the parks that played the most neutral that didn't make any of the lists.
I,
And that
I
is
oddly enough, I thought on rates and barrels, this was counterintuitive to me. I think I remember it right, but I thought they said increased humidity actually increases velocity of the way that a ball can travel through the air. Which like that's not intuitive to me, but isn't that what they said? It
I thought humidity, because a humidor, when they make it more humid, makes it harder for the ball to fly out.
yeah, that's what they add humidors.
So humidity decreases.
It makes the ball
velocity.
heavier, so it flies less far, I believe,
Okay.
is the way it works.
Yeah.
That is intuitive to me.
Yeah.
I would think that water.
And I'm pretty sure they must have misspoke then. I don't know the episode you're thinking of, because yeah, like when you add
Okay.
to cores or to Chasefield, it's a better example, because Chasefield actually did become pitcher friendly.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so like San Diego, like I've been to San Diego's park, and it's not big. Like it's not like a huge field, but I think it's just sea air. It's really humid there, like per day.
Yeah.
Or like there's humid summer days on the East Coast, but like I don't know, you don't feel humidity when it's 74 degrees and it's a breeze, right? But the baseball.
That's true.
Yeah, the parks that play super neutral, the most neutral park in the MLB is Houston. If you guys look at that
makes sense looking at it real time. Yeah, there's nothing.
Like
there's 73 for triples. That's it. Then
that's
slightly
it. Which
above.
I'm like triples, I don't even like count. You know what I mean?
They have them like once a week. Yeah.
Chicago White Sox super neutral. Which this is the one that I was
I thought
listening
they
to
were
some
kind of pitcher
podcast.
friendly. Interesting.
No, I was listening and they were like, "Oh, Chicago White Sox is a good place to hit." I'm like, "What are you talking?"
Oh, I thought it was a pitcher one. Okay. Yeah. Apparently
I
we're
thought it was
both
a pitcher
wrong.
one too. It's just neutral, completely neutral.
So
no triples though. The neutral ones don't allow triples.
So
yeah.
I don't know how they calculate the park factors. If the input for this calculation is actually the results of hitters, like how badly is it going to skew the results given that the White Sox have been really bad for the past 3 years, right? Like this is a rolling 3-year.
Because it also factors them in when they go on the road, like how bad those bad hitters are versus when they're on the road.
Okay.
And then also over 3 years, like how good the road players are when they come there.
I did think about that, and I was like, is it like all the central teams are going to be grouped together?
Yeah.
But
no, because the Rockies are not. The Rockies last couple of years have been so bad as like a team. They haven't had a top 5 offense like the last 2 years, and they're still top at all this.
Oh. So I guess my point is, of course, that the extremes will be captured correctly in this methodology, but I wonder if there could be some wonkiness in the middle because half of the players who play at the White Sox park suck because it's the White Sox,
No, you're right about that part. I see there could be some noise.
So it's like, could you create more average? Oh, sorry.
I'm just saying them, and the other most neutral one is Houston, who's been the best team over the last.
Oh yeah. So my point is maybe Astros is not actually that neutral. Like who knows?
Oh, it's more. Yeah.
It could be more unfavorable than we think.
It depends who they have pitching too. Like a lot of those games were started by prime, like Justin Verlander before this year.
Also, like the Mariners, like just throwing it out there, like they've had really good pitching for a while.
Right. That's honestly, I do agree with you on that, because when you look at the strikeouts and the batted balls, I'm like, I don't know, man. Literally, the strikeouts one was really the giveaway, because I was like, how does a stadium affect strikeouts? I was like, the Brewers, Mariners, and Twins are like the best pitching teams.
I've heard people say, Willie Adames said this about Tampa Bay. Although Tampa Bay is not that high on this, it's interesting hearing there in the middle of the pack.
He hated the lighting.
Yeah, he hated the lighting. He thought the batter's eye was bad and the lighting was bad in the trop, and that made him play terribly.
Yeah.
Jury's out how true that is, but that's the only thing I can think of that would even be.
See, but then it's interesting because I'm like, the Royals are all the way in the bottom of strikeouts too.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, it makes sense that the Rockies are low because everyone's trying to hit it.
All the teams at the
bottom. The places that are good for singles make sense to be bad for strikeouts though, because the hitters are incentivized to put the ball in play. In Colorado, there's so many gaps, and Kauffman, the stadium's so big. Yeah, you're right. Places that are good for home runs are probably also going to be good for strikeouts, I bet. And you kind of see that here, actually.
Yeah.
Because you take bigger swings.
Yep. And then, the 5 ones.
Incentives.
There's 5 stadiums that didn't end up on any list, and that was Houston, Chicago White Sox, Toronto, Minnesota, and Tampa. We're not in the top 5, bottom 5 of anything.
Truly neutral.
So I know there's wonkiness in the middle, and honestly, for the Pat Park factor, most of this doesn't matter. That's where I thought the handedness and all the home runs and stuff was more interesting. So people want to go look at this. I legitimately saw it and was like, all right, I'll never draft a righty in Pittsburgh, and I'm a little scared of Riley Green as a lefty, even though I truly think Riley Green is great. Like, I think he's going to be great, but I'm like, man, maybe he is 25 home run max instead of like 35, like I thought he might be.
It hurts him. We have less than a minute left, Zach. It's a good exercise. I want to give you a sec to say bye to everybody. Tell everybody you love them. Tell everybody what you want in trades.
Yeah.
Don't want you to get a chance to lose it.
I don't know. I like my team. Maybe I'll send your trades back to you, but I'm always down. You want to trade mid-level? You want to trade mid-level pitchers? I love Bayo. I love Suarez. If anyone wants Tyon, I like him for now. But all those guys are always around.
It sounds like after going to Europe, you're one of the Globblins.
I'm a globber. Hi guys.
Love you, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
See you.
Love you guys.
See you, dudes.
See ya.